right, and we are live. What is going on, my specialist SPC here? And for the first time in a year and a half, welcome back finally to the Midwest Cantina Podcast, and a huge May the 4th to all of you. I hope you guys are all having an awesome Star Wars Day, whatever you guys are doing. Even if you're not celebrating Star Wars Day, whatever. Happy May the 4th to you as well. So today, I knew I had to have myself a guest today, so I have got, once again, good old Connor from That Bad Media. Connor, how you doing, man? Happy May the 4th.
Happy May the 4th. May the 4th be with everybody. I'm very excited to be back on the channel once again. Glad to see you back too. This is gonna be fun. I hope. I'm excited, and I appreciate you having me here.
Oh, yeah, man. Always a pleasure hosting you. So, guys, today, originally, the plan was we were going to talk about Star Wars Celebration. Fortunately, my Talkalorian co-host could not join us, so I figured let's just talk just some Star Wars today. Just thought we'd have a cool, good, casual little discussion, talk about some old memories. And towards the end, we will give our 5 favorite moments from the entire franchise. That's going to range from the movies, the shows, games, even too, I guess, for you, Connor. Obviously, you've read a lot more Star Wars books than I have, so even if you got some of those, definitely got to share those, because once again, I know nothing about Legends at all.
Legends is a winding and interesting world, so I'll try not to dive too deep into it. But I mean, Star Wars is all encompassing. There's so many different mediums that people can enjoy Star Wars within, and so many ways that people can enjoy it. So I'm excited to kind of see where that goes throughout the stream.
Yeah, sounds good, man. So, Connor, obviously, you were on the Tales of a Star Wars fan, so obviously some people are pretty familiar with, your tale, but I guess kind of what's really like your first memory of Star Wars?
It's I have some conflicting ones, because when I was a kid, I mean, Star Wars was everything. I grew up in the prequel era. I was born the year before the first of the prequels, and so that was like sort of for my era, for my group of kids growing up. So of course, there's all of the intricate like cardboard cutouts and stuff that you'd see in stores, the action figures, the toy sets, the posters, everything. The television shows, both Clone Wars series eclipsed my childhood. But I feel like my real first memories of Star Wars was of watching the final 95 VHS release of the original trilogy. We had this VHS set that would sit in my great grandmother's basement, and I would just sit down there and watch them anytime that we would go visit. And just looking at the tapes remind me of her and her home and all those things, when I'm missing her and all that, but helps tie to that warm feeling that Star Wars has. So there's conflicting feelings about it as far as like what was my first Star Wars memory. I don't remember it ever not being a part of my life. I don't know about you. I know that you were introduced to it through a family member, but it was just sort of always there for me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say I got into it like late in life, because I mean, I still always love telling this part of the story, like how my introduction to Star Wars was like literally within like basically the same week. How I just watched the original trilogy for the first time, and then like days later, all of a sudden the trailer for The Phantom Menace came out. So it's like, wow, I picked like the perfect time to become a Star Wars fan.
Right, the time.
Yeah. I mean, much like you, obviously, when Phantom Menace was coming out, the amount of just, what's it called now? Wow. don't know what it's called. Wow. Branding, I guess we could kind of say, I guess, in a way, like you said, toys and man, even at like fast food places like KFC, Taco Bell, like they were giving out all these toys. Like I was able to get my hands on a few. I used to have like Yoda sitting on his little chair, but it was like an 8-ball thing, so like you could read your
Yeah,
fortune
yeah.
either way. I don't know if I still have it or not, but I had Darth Maul's ship. I've had the Queen of Naboo. I had her ship. I had like the cups and all that stuff. Like, dude, Phantom Menace. I was a collector whore back then.
No, I can't blame. And the Phantom Menace, they made it really difficult for you not to be. They've released, I mean, anything you can think of, card games, like you said, cups. I got a couple sitting up on the shelf behind me here of the cups, action figures. I mean, every figure in the movie, it's everything. I mean,
Yep.
they merchandised everything.
Yeah, especially Darth Maul. A lot of Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Can you blame them, though?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, double-bladed lightsaber with an amazing-looking Sith. Like, how can you not get excited?
Oh, I mean, and the just the look. I mean, it was perfect for that era of Star Wars too. It just worked out perfectly.
Yeah. And I mean, especially too, going from like kind of more classic samurai kind of like fighting in the original trilogy, and then you make your way to the prequels, and all of a sudden it's a lot more like fast paced. And man, that Duel of the Fates, forever will go down as one of the greatest Star Wars lightsaber duels of all time.
When I think of like defining moments in the franchise, I mean that's got to be up there. And people like to say what they will about the movies, about those prequel films, and they can say whatever they want to say about it. There's no denying for me though that most of the defining moments that I remember from my childhood were all from the prequels. I mean, obviously, I didn't grow up with the original films coming out at that same time, but like just the Duel of the Fates and the rest of the score, the introduction to characters like Qui-Gon Jinn and such, it's like, how do you even, I don't know, how do you discount them? There are people who pretend those don't exist, and it's like, I know that it's part of my childhood, I get that, but like, that's Star Wars, man.
Yeah. I mean, maybe for some people it's not like the greatest like start to telling like, oh, this is supposed to be the story of Darth Vader. Like,
right.
He meets this frog like dinosaur man, and meet all these like frog people, and he falls in love with like a 13-year-old woman. It's like this is how we start off the story of Darth Vader. It's like, let it go. It's take its time. It does amazing in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah. which is out in the theaters for its anniversary, which I can't believe that we're already at 20 years since the release of Revenge of the Sith.
Dude, that is crazy. Like, I will say when that movie came out, probably for the better part of, man, I want to say at least 5 years, I used to say that was my favorite Star Wars movie, which obviously now, it has changed. It's a movie that's dropped a little bit down into my ranking, but even to like Phantom Menace, like I never used to be like the biggest fan, like, because I've told this part of my story too. When I was younger, I used to think A New Hope was like the most boring Star Wars movie out of them all. Like, I did not like it at all as a kid, but now, obviously growing up, I've come around to really love and appreciate the movie.
Yeah.
But even to like Phantom Menace, like, I don't think it's the weakest. It does have a lot of flaws. CGI is not quite up to date. Anakin, you could kind of debate if he was a good actor or not. I mean, I didn't really mind him. Again, it's a kid actor. I kind of let some things slide with kid actors if they're not
right. Yeah.
the greatest of all time. I mean, if you never watched a movie called The Babadook, that's some of the worst kid acting I've ever seen in my entire life.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, that was that movie really made me debate whether or not I wanted to have children. I really thought about it after that. It works perfectly, but let's. I hate to hijack it, but let's talk about Jake Lloyd for a minute. I know he's a hot topic whenever people talk about Star Wars stuff. I know fans are starting to appreciate him a little bit more as time goes on. But I don't know about you. Like, I've never really understood the hate for him. I don't. He did exactly what he was asked to do.
I don't either, man. I mean, it's unfortunate. They're Star Wars fans. Nobody hates Star Wars fans more than Star Wars fans. Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, even too, like Ahmed Best, like the amount of hate he got, and man, the dark places he went to, like I felt so bad for that guy. And even to hearing about like Jake Lloyd, like the only other movie I guess I can think of at the top of my head that I saw Jake Lloyd in, whether it's pre or post Phantom Menace, was a little movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger called Jingle All the Way.
Of course, yeah. Love Jingle All the Way.
Oh, fantastic movie. I don't care what anybody says. It's a weird, guilty pleasure, but beyond that, I can't think of anything else. And I know over the last few years, he's kind of come out of the woodworks and kind of been saying, he was really affected by what the fans were saying about him. He really took it to heart. Now he's finally kind of getting over it, kind of coming back out to the fandom a little bit more. Heck, you've got Hayden Christensen back over the last couple of years, and people really hated him. He's one of the more modern but older people that like the fans just hated. Attack of the Clones, I can see why, but like Revenge of the Sith, I thought he did amazing.
But okay, I'm probably gonna get some heat for this, and I'll take it. But I feel like he did exactly what he was asked to do in Attack of the Clones. Are there some moments that are really awkward? Yes. Are there moments that are awkward that shouldn't be? Yes. But I feel like he was meant to be an awkward, like, teenage character in that movie. I know he looks a little older and stuff, but he's an immature. He was sort of mature beyond his years, but then he, once you get into the hormones and there's Padme in front of you again, and it makes sense why he's an awkward dude. And I really don't think he did. I mean, again, I know there's parts that aren't fantastic, but when people say that it's like some of the worst big movie acting they've ever seen, it's like, no, I don't think so at all. He was brought in to do a job, and I think he did it about as well as anybody could have, especially with some of those lines of dialogue. Let's not pretend that George is the greatest dialogue writer in the world. Okay. He's not. He never has been.
Craziest thing too, man, like if it would have worked out, that was going to be Leonardo DiCaprio. Like I would think I would have picked Hayden no matter what. Like,
it's hard to picture Leo though. Like I have a hard time picturing him in that role. Or honestly, anybody other than Hayden. I mean, and it seems like he's a good dude. So like, I don't know. I think he did what was asked for him, and he did, especially in Attack of the Clones. I'll say he did a fine job, but I think he did a good job in Revenge of the Sith. I do believe he did a good job. Again, there's some awkward moments and stuff, but it's like, who could have done better with that dialogue? It's just not good at some parts. Some parts it's amazing, but he's a story writer. That's what George Lucas is.
Mm-hmm. Like sand. Rough. Gets everywhere. Like, that's That is one amazing thing I will say, though, about the prequels, and especially Revenge of the Sith, man. We've got some absolutely amazing memes from that movie.
Oh, I mean, George and his names are just legendary. I mean, I want that. I want just one day in that guy's brain, just to try to figure out how he thinks, why he thinks that way. I just want a day of being able to come up with names like George Lucas does. I'm not going to say as well as George Lucas does. They're not all hits. But like, I keep this little thing. I have a collection of action figures on this shelf behind me, and one of them is Max Rebo's band from Return of the Jedi, and one of the characters from that is named Droopy McCool. And I just like to remind myself sometimes that, you know, when I'm a screenwriter, and sometimes I feel like I'm, you know, not creative, or I feel like I've run into a wall, and I just like to look at this nameplate that has Droopy McCool on it and just remember, like, hey, George Lucas, the guy who made the greatest trilogy and the greatest series in your life, came up with Droopy McCool. And it makes me feel better. I mean, even Max Rebo is just incredible. But the prequels have what? Sebulba, Jar Jar Binks, Boss Nass, Mace Windu is an interesting name, to say the least. Yeah, George is an enigma, man.
I mean, I still have to give him prop. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Some of those names are woof, but like, the guy has made like two of like the greatest like franchises of all time. I mean, he made a legendary character in Indiana Jones and made, well, I guess, oh man, was at least part of like four good films. I guess five, in my personal opinion. I like them all. Well, yeah, Connor, I'm sure we'll be back. We'll find out. But I mean, like in terms of like Phantom Menace, though, like I understand why people don't like the movie. Like, I don't think it's like absolutely terrible. I mean, we got to see there we go.
I don't know what happened there.
I don't either. All of a sudden, I was talking, and I was like, I mean, did I say something wrong? Do you not like Indiana Jones? You're like, yeah. See you later.
Oh, you know what? I'm here to talk about Star Wars. You say any other names, I'm gone. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to be a diva, and I expect double pay now that you said Indiana Jones.
Fine, I suppose. But oh man, like Phantom Menace. I mean, for me at least personally, it's a 3.5. I mean, again, yes, some things are very dated. Some things don't really work out too well. I mean. Oh, you forgot one other name to add to that list. You forgot to add Watto.
Watto, I love Watto. I know what people say about Watto, and I'm not going to say they're wrong, but I love Watto. We regularly do the Watto voice in our household.
Yes.
He's a legend. And now I am curious because you talked about your rating for the Phantom Menace. Has your Star Wars ranking changed at all over the last, like you said, year and a half that since you've kind of discussed a lot of Star Wars stuff?
I mean, yes and no. Like, for the longest time, I had Revenge of the Sith as my second favorite Star Wars movie. It's dropped down to my third now.
Oh.
Super unpopular opinion. I mean, I've talked with you about this ad nauseum, but Force Awakens is one of like the greatest movie theater experiences, if not the greatest movie theater experience I ever had. So that's my second place Star Wars movie now. Actually, but a good old faithful Letterboxd.
Yeah, I know. I just pulled mine up too because I had it pulled up so that I figured you would probably want to hit on movies from that from like a bunch of different movies from Star Wars. So I want to make sure I have my thoughts there. I've seen so many movies that even though I love Star Wars, you gotta. There's a lot up here, so I gotta.
There's a
have
lot
a
to talk.
reference. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I used to say for a while. I mean, this was been probably since the prequels, actually, or not the prequels, the sequels came out. Now, I had Revenge of the Sith, or not Revenge of the Sith, Phantom Menace below Attack of the Clones. But after thinking about it, I think Phantom Menace is a far more superior film than Attack of the Clones, personally, to me.
So I would do you want to run through them real quick? I mean, hey, it's Star Wars Day. Do you want to kind of rattle back and forth what we have on our rankings right now?
Absolutely, because I know you're the guy with like the biggest unpopular opinions, like especially when we were on here. Weirdly enough, our last Cantina podcast, we showed off our Halloween ranking. You had dude, that is the most wild Halloween ranking I still have seen. Like, wow. So
I like to have look, man. I'm authentic, whether people like it or not. I will tell you my opinions for real, because life's too short to not. So, yeah, I don't think my Star Wars one's all that crazy. It's a little surprising for a couple of them, but I don't think it's all that crazy. I don't know. I guess it depends on who you are.
I will say I do know what your last place is, so I mean, I guess with that out of the way, sure. Let's hop into our Star Wars ranking here. So our official, unofficial Star Wars ranking here on the podcast. So Connor, kick us off and kind of break my heart a little bit.
Break your heart a little bit. Okay. I hate to do that. Hate to be a heartbreaker, but I have 11 movies on there. I included Rogue One and Solo.
Okay.
So my number 11 would be Rise of Skywalker.
Yep.
Yeah.
I understand those.
It was a pretty dramatic decrease too. Like sometimes what'll happen with me is I'll watch a movie and I'll absolutely hate it and it'll become one of my favorites. As you may remember on the Halloween discussion. And sometimes I watch a movie and I go, wow, that was emotional. And I had such a great time watching that. And then I watch it again and I realize I was blinded by the nostalgia. And this movie dropped from a 4.5 to a 1 on my letter.
Holy hell.
Yeah. So I'm easily tricked, but I will come around eventually. That's going to be the theme of my life, I think.
I mean, infamous story for you, man. You were going to break your DVD of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, and it's now your favorite horror movie of all time.
Yes, it is. And Star Wars is mostly the other way around. I loved something the first time I watched it, and then by the last time I didn't want to watch it again. So I'm excited to see where it continues to go. But what would be at your bottom spot?
So for the movies, I have nothing under a 3-star. Like, I think all the movies are anywhere from solid to a 5-star masterpiece. So for me, my number 11 is going to be episode 2, Attack of the Clones. I mean, the whole third act, besides maybe a couple lines of dialogue, is some of the best stuff we get in the prequels. I mean, the whole battle on Geonosis, getting to see all of the Jedi in the arena fighting against the battle droids. The duel between Obi-Wan and Anakin against Dooku. Of course, getting that awesome shot with Anakin with both the lightsabers doing the little twirl. I mean, it's amazing, iconic. However, the whole second act besides Anakin, finally giving into the dark side and killing all the Tusken Raiders after the death of his mother, it kind of just feels like a whole different movie. Like it literally feels like a pure drama at that point. Love Obi-Wan. I mean, Ewan McGregor, one of my favorite actors of all time. Still, personally to me, the single best Obi-Wan Kenobi we've had on screen. No disrespect to Sir Alec Guinness. He's a great Obi-Wan for the time, but Ewan just is the epitome of Obi-Wan for me.
Yeah, I understand.
Obviously, we were kind of hinting at a little bit the whole Anakin Padme thing. That's just, I'm sorry. It's so cringy. It's hard to watch.
Not a fan.
him hovering the pear and cutting the pear and all that. It's dude, just stop, please. I'm haunted by the kiss. George, please, George, stop, sir, please. And oh man, where is it? Oh, I don't know where it is, but I do still have the VHS of Attack of the Clones.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Somewhere in this disaster of a office. Oh hey, look at that. There it is. All I had to do was look.
There we go.
So yeah, still have this bad boy.
Beautiful.
I'm not. Oh hey, there's Yu-Gi-Oh cards in here. Why? Okay. Okay. Okay, that was random. My bad. I will not lie. Now that I have a VHS, I want to go back and watch all of these. I mean, I don't have Revenge of the Sith on. I have it on DVD. I don't even think it came out on VHS that I know of.
It was very limited, but there are VHS copies you can find out there. I don't have one. I only have of the prequels, episode 1 on VHS, but I am after all of them. I want every single one of them on tape because it's for me, the big thing with watching them on tape, especially Phantom Menace, is that movie does still have a lot of the film grain kind of look to it. It's really the last Star Wars movie that feels pre-2000, which it is the last pre-2000 Star Wars movie, but it also feels like that while still falling in line with the other two prequels. So I still like to watch that on VHS, or at least without the the noise reduction on it, so that I can just get a. Luckily, Star Wars forums come in clutch with fan projects, so I can really watch these movies as I feel I should be. But I think it's really cool that you have episode 2 on VHS. I'm after 2 and 3 still. Every other one I have, so I'm a little jealous of you there.
Well, I apologize, but
no, all good.
Also for the big wrestling fan you are.
Yes. Well, that's the revenge for putting Rise of Skywalker at the bottom for you. So,
but once again, like I said, I totally understand. Being the sequel defender, the Disney guy that I am, again, I understand the hate for pretty much all the movies and every project. So, Attack of the Clones, the cringiest Star Wars movie, but also gives us the introduction of Jango Fett, an amazing character. Gives us the clones. Obviously, Clone Wars obviously really expands on the clones, really makes them their own characters. So there are things to like about the movie. It's just, it's too cringy at times for me.
Okay. So. I understand it. I am an episode 2 defender nowadays, but I absolutely understand. I guess we'll see later what I'll have to say on that, because it will be somewhere in the ranking. I didn't exclude it, but a little later on than where we're at now. So, but I am glad to hear that you at least have some appreciation for all of these. I have an appreciation for most of them. So. Yeah, just the bottom 2 are really the only 2 that I really would never, ever, ever watch again.
As of now, literally the only Star Wars project I can willingly say I do not like and I probably will never watch again, is The Acolyte.
Oh, okay. I never watched it.
You
See,
lucky son of a bitch.
here's my thing, right? Like, I started to realize that I was getting Star Wars burnout. And I am so in love with Star Wars, and it means so much to me that the last thing I ever wanted is Star Wars burnout. So I just stopped when I started feeling it, and stuck to the rewatching the movies every once in a while. And
Yep.
I got to be honest, as much as I love getting more Star Wars stuff, and as good as some of it's been, I was in tears in one of the Mandalorian episodes. I kind of just preferred when Star Wars was few and far between. It's harder to get burnt out by it, and I don't have to like watch different shows or movies to, I just have to watch the main line of movies. I don't have to watch different shows to understand what's happening in another show. And I don't know. I didn't like it. I don't like it with Marvel, and I don't like it with Star Wars. So that's a hot take. I know people love the more Star Wars they can get, and I understand why. I don't know. It just felt off to me, but yeah, I get that for sure. I've heard a lot of things about The Acolyte that I saw clips and stuff, and it looked like, what was really cool, like visually, I think that show was quite striking. From what I was able to see, they did a really good job with the lightsaber effects. I know it sounds kind of weird to say, but some movies and like projects, it's just a little off, but it looked really good. It helped, like the way that it hit the camera and the way that some of the shots looked were really good. I liked some of the innovation with like how they shot the lightsaber scenes that I saw, but it just seemed like they took a couple of things a little in the wrong direction. And it makes me sad because it sounded like it was people who were passionate about Star Wars that worked on it, at least a couple of them. But I think it was just a little misguided based on what I've heard and the little bits that I've seen. So yeah. I get it. I get it for sure.
Yeah, it's. I would rather watch Attack of the Clones over this. So.
Well, I'll take that small little victory. You'll watch Attack of the Clones before something else. I'll take that.
Yes. Well, all right, Connor. So, what is your number 10?
I'm so sorry, Disney people. But my number 10 is The Last Jedi.
Oh wow, The Last Jedi. Oh no.
So here's the thing about I actually really it's another one that I did enjoy when I first watched it. I felt weird on the first watch. I didn't really know how to wrap my brain around what I saw. Second watch, I really liked a lot of stuff, but I really hated a lot of other stuff. And then I started really, like, I wanted to do a deep dive watch. Like, let me pay attention as much as I can. Let me really soak everything in, thinking that the third time would be the charm. And it was not. Luckily, not as big of a drop. It went from a 3 to a 1.5. But still a decent drop. Lost half its star rating. I just felt like for me, I'm not going to be one of those Star Wars fans that said that Rian Johnson and anybody involved didn't get Star Wars, because Star Wars means something different to everybody. However, based on my view of Star Wars, that's not how I wanted to see the series go, especially with the character of Luke Skywalker. I think that's such an important character in Star Wars. And I felt like, based on my understanding of Luke, which is probably not the understanding of Luke Skywalker, it's definitely not the definitive one. But for my personal taste and understanding of the character, I felt like that movie fundamentally misrepresented what that character should be and should do and how they should act. So I understand what they were going for, and I think it was bold, and I have an appreciation for the desire to do something different in Star Wars, because there's an argument to be made that Star Wars is afraid to do enough different things. And that's why I applaud projects like The Acolyte or like Andor. Didn't watch Andor, but I applaud that it's something different. And But yeah, it just wasn't quite for me. And you said that Attack of the Clones was the most cringeworthy Star Wars film. I would argue that this movie is the most cringeworthy Star Wars film. Um, and you could base most of that around that one planet scene where it's like the casino planet.
Canto Bight.
Yeah. I was not a fan of any of that. And it was even something in the theater that, like, usually when I'm in the theater, I get very romantic about movies. It's really hard to walk away from the theater thinking I hated that film. Experience is another thing with the people that attend theaters now. But the film itself, I usually enjoy it if I watch it in the theater. But even coming out of that, like, me and my wife were talking about it, and I was like, what was up with that scene? Like, it didn't fit with the rest of the movie, and it just like had this they weren't even transparent about the message they were trying to send, and like, why was that it? I just didn't get it. And maybe I wasn't meant to, but yeah, I cringed a lot on my last rewatch of The Last Jedi, and I couldn't put it any higher than 10.
But we have like the greatest line in all of Star Wars in that movie.
Which is?
We don't fight for what we hate. We fight for what we love.
And you know what? The scene with Yoda, I still think is like up there in scenes from Star Wars. And I would have understood if Luke had a slight diversion and had a scene like that. I think it was just such a big departure for me overall with the character that, like, even by that scene, especially the most recent rewatch that I had of it, even by the time that scene happened, I'm watching it and I'm going, I just really wish that the circumstances around it were different, because the Yoda effects were fantastic. He looked great. He said amazing Yoda lines. Some of the best Yoda dialogue is in that scene, I think. But I can't excuse the rest of the film personally for that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I made a unpopular Star Wars opinion video. God, I don't even know how long ago that was. I think it's been like 5 years or something. I argue that besides do or do not, there is no try. Everything in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
That is Yoda's greatest lesson, is in The Last Jedi. Or failure is the greatest teacher of all.
I do agree. I do agree. And it's really well written. I think it's the best dialogue of that film. I think it's the hardest. To me, it's the scene that hit the hardest in that movie. It was just, and it made you feel like a kid again. You know, that's what I think. That's why I came away from Rise of Skywalker liking it so much at first, because when you see it in the theater and it's big and you get to see all of your favorite characters for one last time, and you just feel like a kid again. And that scene makes me feel like a kid again. So I think you're totally right. It's to me that easily the standout moment from that film.
Easily. So we have B1 Network just finished the prequels and Obi-Wan show. I'm falling apart right now. Masterpieces.
I agree. You know what? Thank you, B1 Network, because I get a lot of flack from people for my love for the Obi-Wan show.
Yes.
And I even the parts that people hate, I don't have a problem with at all. So thank you for your appreciation for Obi-Wan, because I thought that show was awesome, and I'm excited to revisit it.
It does look cheap. The camera work is a little shaky, and some things with Leia don't really work. But dude, Ewan McGregor like stepped back into that role like he never even left. Like,
I'll just say this: the scene between the two of them, the duel, like the final duel, is, to me, it is the best Star Wars moment that Disney has given, in my opinion, of anything that they've done. And that's coming from somebody who was in tears at Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian. Okay. Like, I loved that moment, but like, there were still things about it that I could say, like, oh, you know, I didn't love that. Like, you know, the CG was a little wonky on Luke, and like, you know, when you rewatch it, it doesn't have the same value. But like that scene from Obi-Wan, I've probably watched it 50 times. a definitive Star Wars moment, and to me, the only one Disney has given for my personal fandom. So
it's my second favorite Darth Vader moment of all time.
It's so good, man. It's so good. And I don't know B1 Network personally. I thank them for tuning in, but I thank you for giving me an excuse to goon about about the Obi-Wan show, because I love it.
It is, dude. I get looks all the time because like I don't like the Andor show and I put Obi-Wan above it. People are like, what? Really?
Obi-Wan was my favorite. It was my favorite of all the Disney show projects. It was my favorite of all the Disney Star Wars projects, period. So I'll take some of that heat away from you.
Even over Mando?
Yeah, because you know what it was with Mando? I thought that I thought there were weaknesses for the Obi-Wan show, but to me, like, so much of my personal taste in Star Wars is how it makes me feel. So like The Mandalorian, I thought was a great show, and to me the second best thing that Disney did. And there's a Disney movie that I like quite a bit on my list that's going to be coming up that has another standout Star Wars moment. But to me, what I liked so much about Obi-Wan was like there are a lot of things that are more that you understand a lot more when you watch the movies back, which the other Disney project I appreciate does as well. It made me feel for like my entire life of being a Star Wars fan, because it blended the two eras of Star Wars so well. And it had these like heavy emotional moments that I was kind of like waiting for these characters. So I love Mando. I love it. But Mando has some weaknesses, and it didn't quite make me feel as good as watching Obi-Wan did. So it's kind of close between those two, but I'd put Obi-Wan above it personally.
You have more nostalgia for Obi-Wan. So.
Yeah, they'd both be on the same par as far as like my enjoyment in watching them. If I just took nostalgia out of it completely, but if I'm putting nostalgia in it, it just gives it that little bump that puts it ahead for me. So okay. I can't ignore that. Yeah,
that is fair, man. It's a phrase that goes around. Nostalgia is like the most powerful drug on the planet. So
it's the only one I do.
Same here, man. Believe me, same here. Oh, we got good old Sub Monkey here. Hey, SBC, might watch this later. I want to say happy May the 4th, and may the 4th be with you. I will be busy. Have a good day. Bye. Stay safe. You as well, my friend.
Take care, Sub Monkey. I see you every time I'm on this channel, so take care.
Faithful subscriber, man. Love this guy.
Love to see him.
Yes. So my number 10, we actually talked about it quite a bit. For me, number 10 is Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I mean, literally already gave all my thoughts. I mean, two great, phenomenal characters they brought in with Qui-Gon Jinn and Darth Maul, two of my favorite Star Wars characters of all time. Probably the arguably second or third best lightsaber duel of the entire franchise. I mean, Qui-Gon, dude, like, Qui-Gon to me is like the epitome of what a Jedi should be, not this whole, let's go sit in a circle and banter, and you're not granted the rank of master. Screw you. Well, okay then.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, too, the pod racing. I know that's something we didn't really touch on, man, but like that whole pod racing sequence is phenomenal. Absolutely loved when they went back there in the Book of Boba Fett and had Mando flying around in there. God, I felt like I was 6-year-old again watching that whole sequence. Obviously, though, CGI is not quite up to date. Not really the biggest fan of the Gungans at all. I mean,
okay.
Jar Jar's okay. I don't hate him to the level of like everybody else. He's a fine enough character, but otherwise, yeah, like I said, that's like a 3.5. I guess I did say I have a 3 for Attack of the Clones, but Episode 1's a 3.5 out of 5 for me.
Half a star above. It's going to be somewhere else on my list, and people that are watching are probably going to be like, he still hasn't said Phantom Menace yet. Where is the Phantom Menace? But I'm gonna make them wait for that. But yeah, I'm going to have a lot of complimentary things to say. I totally get some of the complaints with Phantom Menace, but especially the last time I watched it, I was like, maybe it's that nostalgia again, melting away the problems, but like, I had a great time. And I'm excited to discuss that one as we continue to go along. I'm not too excited about my number 9 here. Not that I hated the movie. It's just doesn't excite me all that much. I have this one at a 3, so pretty significant jump from the 1.5 that The Last Jedi got. And it's Solo. To me, it's the definition of fine. It had some good stuff. It had some stuff I didn't like too much. Cool seeing Darth Maul again. And now the movie's over. That's all it was for me. And that's all I really have to say about it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's the definition of fine.
Okay. I mean, obviously, when I get to that, I'll give more of my thoughts. But I would consider that to be probably the most fun Star Wars movie. Like, I can just sit down and just casually watch it and have a good time with it. So, I do like it.
Fun's important.
Fun is probably one of the most fundamental things you can have in a Star Wars movie. I mean,
absolutely.
Except Revenge of the Sith, I won't quite say that's
okay. It's excitement and tragedy. If you have one of those two things or both in your Star Wars film, you'll probably do okay.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, so my number 9, and I'm gonna get so much hate for this, but I'm so ungodly sorry. I apologize to all fans. Connor, I apologize to you.
Oh, no.
But my number 9 is going to be Star Wars 1977.
Ooh.
Now,
I love it.
Again, as a kid and pre-Disney, I had this in last place forever. I used to say this was the most boring Star Wars movie. Anytime I go and start watching the trilogy or even sit down and watch 1 through 6, 9 out of 10 times, I would skip A New Hope.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's blasphemy, I know. I'm sorry. But getting ready for Force Awakens, I did rewatch it, obviously, and I did like it more. It was more solid. But I really, yep. But I really believe the thing that helped me enjoy this movie more was Rogue One. I really feel Rogue One helped me like it more, and I would even say too, I would say Force Awakens, because everybody likes to say that Force Awakens is basically a carbon copy of the original Star Wars, just kind of jumbled around a little bit. But I mean, the introduction to the world of Star Wars, I have a huge respect and appreciation for this movie. It introduced us to Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, probably one of, if not the single greatest character ever created for a movie. Obviously brought us Luke. I mean, you get the awesome third act with the battle between Obi-Wan and Vader. Obviously, in terms of what we have gotten over time with Star Wars, an extremely dated lightsaber duel.
Right.
But still, I would still say a classic. And of course, obviously, the entire battle of Yavin and the destruction of the Death Star. Phenomenal stuff. Of course, bringing us to, Han, Chewie, Leia, bringing us the entire cast that everybody knows and loves. Once again, just some things are dated. I unfortunately have never seen the original cut of Star Wars, which I have up there, and I still need to watch. So,
so you actually, I was about to ask that if you prefer the original cut of Star Wars or the special edition cuts. And I'm not going to ask you to break down the granular. Do you like the 1997 version? Do you like the 2004 version? I have my opinions on those, but I would never make somebody do that. But so you have not seen the original cut of the 1977 Star Wars?
I have not. It is sitting on my shelf, and I still need to watch it. But I know when I got the box set, here, I'll just show you because I'm sure you'll know as soon as you look at it. pretty sure this is one of the special editions, if I remember right.
Yes, that is a special edition. Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't tell you which version of Jabba the Hutt's in here, but the only other version I've seen is the ungodly, terrible CGI version on the Blu-rays.
So, just to kind of give a breakdown for, I guess anybody watching if they don't know, but also for you, for the versions that you can watch. So, like, the original cut doesn't have that Jabba scene at all. This is what I'm going to use as like the guide here. The original cut does not have Jabba at all. The Star Wars diehards are going to tell you that there's two technically original cuts, because when they released it in theaters in 1977, it just said Star Wars. When they released it to home video, it said Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. So just that difference, that's really the only difference between the theatrical version and the home video version. Once you get to 97, they add that Jabba scene in with Phantom Menace effects. So like it's very, like you said, sort of dated. To me, that's actually the version I prefer. It looks worse than the 2011 version from the Blu-ray that you're familiar with. It looks way worse.
Oh my God.
But I prefer that because when I was a kid, that's one of the two versions of that movie that I watched. So like there's a charm to the bad CGI for me. There's also some minor differences, like they would fix up the effects over time. They would change the Han and Greedo scene over time. To me, there is a better special edition movie in the 97 set, especially. But I always recommend that people at least watch the original cut of Star Wars. There's a great forum online where you can download a 4K version of it. They request that you already own a copy of Star Wars so that it's not like you're not stealing it. Please don't do that. Make sure that you're doing this as safely and respectfully and legally as possible. But there's also the Harmy Despecialized edition for those who want to see it. It's Frankenstein together. It's like a cut that this guy did to Frankenstein it together, but it still has the same effect. There's just so much charm before the effects were added in. But I would be curious to have that conversation with you afterwards to see which one you prefer, without the CGI and how different the two are. Because there are a lot of minor differences, but also a couple.
Eventually I will get to it. I don't know when, but eventually I will get to it.
Life gets crazy. I understand what you mean.
Yeah, it's man. But I don't know, man. Like and yeah, I know B1. It's just a me thing. Like, I'm again, it's a movie I definitely respect. It is a movie I do like a lot more than I did back when I was like 12 years old, but I think and I do mean this, like I'm not just saying this to like blow smoke around and be like, hey, look at me, I'm having an unpopular opinion. Like, come and look at me.
Right.
No. Like, it just Rogue One, seeing how like everybody gets to the Death Star, because like they do kind of hint, obviously they hint a lot at the Death Star in the original. So I just think that parallel, like just that would be obviously an amazing double feature for people, but that's just me, man. So again, Star Wars 1977, I again have come around to it a lot. It's just there are movies I enjoy more. This is just in that line of like I respect this movie probably a little bit more than I overly enjoy it. It goes with like The Exorcist. Like I've never been scared of The Exorcist. I did see it super late in my life, but
yeah.
I respect that movie probably a lot more than I enjoy it. So.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, that's a take that I don't know how anybody could hate a take like that, because you're not saying like, you're not Stephen A. Smithing it, where you're like, oh, it's trash. It's trash. It's the worst movie. It's not good. Everybody thinks it's good. It's not good. You're showing the respect for the movie, and you have a reverence for the fact that this is where it all started, and it's the humble beginnings, and it is sort of humble beginnings for Star Wars. But I look, I appreciate that take. I don't think that's a bad take at all. And having a movie to partner it with when you have especially when you watched it young and formed your opinion of it young, it's hard to break that mold. So the fact that it's not last still, I think I have even more respect for that. You know, you've since been like, okay, no, I find more enjoyment in this. So yeah, any way that you can enjoy Star Wars, you should enjoy Star Wars. But I do love B1's reaction there with the what?
Yes, I apologize, but it's still like a 3.5, 3.75. I mean, who knows? Maybe after I rewatch both of these VHSs of the movie, maybe I'll have a better. Maybe, who knows? Maybe it'll bump up to my top 5. I mean, who knows? Crazier things have happened. I mean, much like you, Connor. I know I keep going back. I know it's a Star Wars podcast, but I got to keep going back to horror. Like, I'm like you. I hated Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 for years, and now it's my 3rd favorite Halloween movie.
I'm telling you, you know, I think there's always room to find an appreciation for a movie. It's something I try to do every time I watch a film now. I try to look for every reason not to hate it, because life is far too short. Yeah, there are times where I put a critic, you know, I put my critic glasses on and I watch the movie through those lenses, but I don't know how anybody could go into a movie saying, oh, I'm going to hate this, and just sit there the whole time trying to be miserable. You know, that's time in your life you're never getting back. So sit down and try to enjoy yourself. And if you don't, then you don't, but at least you tried. So I appreciate that take for sure. You're not going to hear any crap from me about that. So you're good. Seal of approval.
Okay. I appreciate that. So, all right. I think we are at your number 8 now.
Number 8. And I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry to you specifically, because you're my buddy. But it's The Force Awakens.
Okay.
See, The Force Awakens is the first Star Wars movie that I saw in theaters in my memory. When I was a kid, we didn't really go to the theaters a lot. So, you know, we would see some things, especially kids movies, but ones that like adults would be there. My parents had enough sense to be like, maybe we shouldn't bring children to this. That would have been 2005. So I would have been, I'm not good at math. I would have been a kid. There's a reason I'm talking about Star Wars on the internet. I can't do math. So when The Force Awakens was coming out in 2015, my now wife and I we had been together for a number of months and decided to go see it together. I remember it vividly, and I had a wonderful time in the theater watching the movie. And I didn't rewatch it for years. Like, even after The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker came out, I had not rewatched Force Awakens again. And I just was waiting for it. And then finally I was like, you know what? I'm going to rewatch all 3 and give them all a chance. And it just didn't hold up the way that I was hoping for. I definitely understand where people are coming from on the whole, like, oh, it repeats. But to me, I don't really have a problem with a film doing that. I know people see it as lazy, but to me, like, history rhymes. Like, that happens in real life. And I'm okay with that happening in a film context, especially one where there is this all-encompassing binding force that goes through objects and people. Like, that makes sense to me that there's going to be some similarities and reoccurrences and all of that stuff. History will rhyme in Star Wars and as it does in real life. But my issues with it just sort of centered around, it felt like an imitation of a Star Wars movie as opposed to a Star Wars film, at least from my viewing. It didn't feel like it had the same heart and purpose that the other Star Wars films do. And perhaps that's my own bias. But when I watch it, I just have this like sort of empty feeling throughout. And there are really some moments that I question. Watching Kylo Ren back, I really am not a huge fan of his story and his progression throughout the films. He's definitely got an okay look in the first movie, but as time went on, I just sort of was like, okay. Shock value, Han Solo death, I understand it. But the fact that we didn't get all 3 of our original trilogy characters on screen at the same time is a crime, in my opinion. And I'm not going to be one of those people that complains too much about Rey holding her own against Kylo in the lightsaber battle. If they want to introduce a character that is so in tune with the Force even before they train that they are able to at least handle themselves, I'm not going to really say anything different or criticize them for that. However, that scene really would have been a perfect opportunity to bring Luke back. And I can't stop thinking about that when I watch that scene. So I don't enjoy it as much as I used to, as I did when I first watched it, but I have it at a 3.5. Like, I don't hate the movie. I think it's still a solid Star Wars film. It just feels more like somebody trying to do Star Wars instead of just doing Star Wars.
Okay.
Number 8.
Fair enough. B1, love y'all, but New Hope gets better with more movies they add. The conversation with Obi-Wan and Luke about his father, with everything we know now, he still called him his friend.
Yeah, no, I actually believe that with every media release that Disney has done, my appreciation for the original trilogy of films and for the prequel has increased. For better and for worse, both for like a comparison purposes where I'm like, hey, I'd rather watch this than the Disney stuff, but also like the stuff you see in The Mandalorian that blends in, the stuff from the Obi-Wan show that blends in. They've done a good job of, with the things that have worked, making you appreciate the other movies better. So I think B1's previous point, or his current point, just sort of went back on his previous point a little bit, or at least attacked it a little bit, because I can absolutely see how a movie like Rogue One would increase your love of A New Hope, and the same thing with the Obi-Wan show. I think you hit the nail right on the head there, B1. I like that I'm just calling somebody B1, but yeah, for sure, I agree with you.
I feel like I'm talking to a droid.
I know. I love it. It fits Star Wars Day. I love it. Thanks for coming, B1.
I will say this. It's been probably like 4.5 years since I've even watched any of the movies. So, I mean, I am also kind of don't have a lot of the knowledge I used to about the movies. I've been a lot more familiar with like the shows because I've been watching those a lot lately. But once again, I think with A New Hope, I think maybe the more and more I watch stuff, I will probably come around. And again, my rankings change all the time, no matter what franchise it is. Like either a movie will move up or move down. It happens. So, which I guess now leads me to my number 8.
I'm excited.
Number 8 is going to be Solo: A Star Wars Story. Now, I will say, just to get my negatives out of the way, did we need this film? No. Did I need to see how Han got his last name? Do I need to see how he got his blaster? It's kind of cool to see how he meets Chewie. Obviously, it's different than how it is, obviously, in the novels, from what I've heard. I believe
yes,
Han and Chewie meet in like an Imperial Academy or something like that. I don't know if I'm right about that, but it's cool to get to see the infamous Kessel Run that's talked about ad nauseum, which was probably the best sequence personally for me in the entire movie.
Agreed.
I do think Alden Ehrenreich, I do think he did do a good job playing Han. Like, I could see this going to be the Han we get to see in A New Hope. Obviously, still a handful of years before this happens, but I will even willingly say, which I'm still assuming is what's going to happen, is this new Dave Filoni movie we're getting is going to be Heir to the Empire. I wouldn't mind seeing him come back to play Han. I don't know if they deep fake him or what they would do in that point, but whatever. I do think I think his name is Donald Glover. I'm pretty sure is his name. I always get him and Danny Glover from like Predator 2. I always get them confused all the time.
Similar names.
Yeah. I do think he did awesome as Lando. Like, again,
agreed.
Very believable Lando. And again, it's just the movie's just fun. I have a good time watching this movie. I could even say, along with Rogue One, when I do eventually get to it, I do think this is a good casual Star Wars fan movie. I mean, again, it's just a movie I did not need. I would have rather seen, even though like you, I'm a defender of the Obi-Wan show. I think I still would have rather seen an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie a lot more than I wanted to see a Han Solo movie. So Solo is my number 8.
Yeah, and one thing that I didn't say that I sort of thought up when you were talking there is that I think it would have been a little easier on the project if it were like a 3-episode miniseries, where they could just tackle these fun things that would be cool to learn about Han, and then just sort of like it's over. I think that would have been a little bit better for the material, but I understand why they went the route that they did, and there were some cool things in there. Like you said, I think the praise for Donald Glover, I think, is absolutely. I think to me, he was the standout performer in that movie. Didn't mind the main actor. I thought he was fine. The look, it bothered me a little bit. I mean, one of Harrison Ford's prominent features is his nose, and it's like what his face looks like, and so it's like him turning into that is a little strange. So a deep fake would have been preferred, and I can't believe I'm saying that, but I no super complaints about the movie. We weren't too far off with our ranking of where we put it. I think you just might have enjoyed that movie a little bit more than I did, and I think that's totally fair. It shows our differences in what we enjoy in Star Wars too, which I think is so important when you talk about Star Wars. You need to talk about the differences, not just like, hey, we both love this. Like, how do we both take this in, and why is it different from each other? Is like a very underrated Star Wars topic to discuss. So, yeah, I'm glad to see you appreciate a movie like Solo.
I will say, even though as much as I love Mando, and I'm glad it was the first Disney Plus Star Wars show, I definitely think Solo should have been like at least a 6-part miniseries. I think this story would have worked a lot better as a show.
I agree. 100% agree. Even if they wanted to do a very short miniseries, that's totally fine. It would have been much more easily digestible. They could have cut a lot of the fat out. They could have extended a lot of the sequences out. It would have been much better. But we got the movie. You have it at 8. I have it at 9. I guess that's now we're 7, right? We're going on to 7. 7 for me is one that I really like. We're getting kind of into I'll say really like. Everything from 6 on I love. This I really like. And it's Rogue One, a Star Wars story. One of the defining Star Wars moments in that Darth Vader sequence in the hallway. I don't think there's anything I can say to add to that. It was incredible. Really cool to see the story of the rebels that eventually got us the plans for the Death Star. Did it need a whole movie? I think honestly this would have also been pretty good as a show, because there are some issues that I do have with the movie, but even some of those issues kind of get tied up in the end when they're all about to die, like I didn't love, like, I'm a big Kung Fu fan. When I was a kid, I watched Kung Fu movies like nobody's business. So seeing Donnie Yen in the movie was really cool, but I didn't love his character and the people around him until they were about to die in the end. And then I was like, oh no, this is like really meaningful. And so it made it worth it to sit through the parts that I didn't like of them. And I liked the main actress. I liked the guy who played Andor. Okay. Mads Mikkelsen. How could you say anything bad about that guy? Was it Krennic? What was the name? It was
Krennic. Yeah,
I thought he did great. I thought the man in the guy in the Darth Vader suit commanded that presence. It was well executed, but a little off the mark as far as like a fantastic, like, I don't revisit Rogue One like I revisit the top 6 Star Wars movies for me. But I also don't like entirely exclude it either, like the rest of them underneath it. So it's up there. It's a good one.
So essentially, which I mean, from the sounds of it, your whole bottom half of your ranking is basically all the Disney films.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Again, like I've been saying ad nauseum, I understand.
Yeah,
Completely.
But I want to say though, like, and I made this clear like I try to make this clear every time that I'm on your channel, because I know that there's going to be new people seeing me, and potentially there's going to be new people coming to the channel. Like, I'm not a Disney hater. I think it's really cool that Disney is bringing Star Wars to new audiences, and that they are going to feel the way I feel about Star Wars, about their version of Star Wars. And it means the world to me that they're at least keeping it alive. And, you know, people are saying they're killing it. They're not killing it. They're doing a different vision, and I appreciate that they're doing that. It just doesn't align with really what I expected from Star Wars. I'm not going to complain about it, write them letters. I'm not going to go on social media and scream at them about it. You know, but at the same time, like, if I'm looking for my ideal experience, I would put those at the bottom of the ranking. But even, like, again, Rogue One to me is one that I'm not going to discount, and, you know, I will revisit it every once in a while. And the shows, I think they've done much better in. I would rewatch the seasons of The Mandalorian that I've seen. I would rewatch Obi-Wan, and eventually maybe give a chance to Andor and maybe The Acolyte. I don't know, but I'm not a Disney hater. I want to make that clear. As much as I dislike their vision for Star Wars, I think what they're doing for Star Wars is equally as important to some kid out there as George Lucas's vision was for me. And to say that they shouldn't have that is, I think, totally discounting the importance of what Star Wars is to people. So,
yeah, I mean, again, I don't know when I shared it, but there's a picture of a little girl dressed up like Rey and like giving Daisy Ridley a hug and like literally in tears, and it says something along the lines of like, this character means so much to this little girl, like how Luke Skywalker meant to some of us, or like how Yoda means to me, or Obi-Wan would mean to you, or something. So I mean, as the hate for the new Star Wars, I think, is definitely over the top. Like, I do agree with you. You know, I do think, I don't want to use the word, it's like a sin, but I do think it was a missed opportunity to have Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, having the whole original trilogy cast back together in one more movie.
Yeah.
Carrie unfortunately passed away, but, you know, I'm hoping they're going to good with trying to fix things, and I feel like his Star Wars movie coming out, I have a feeling we're going to get them, even though obviously at that point they're going to be, however you want to word it, deep faked or recasted or whatever. But
you know what? Like, I'm comfortable with that though. Like, I'm one of the people who said, I said it to my friend, but I would have been even comfortable if like Disney did like a shot-for-shot remake of the Star Wars movies, like the original trilogy movies, but they used like the actors that played like Luke and Leia in Obi-Wan when they get old enough, and then like they use, because by then Ewan McGregor is going to be old enough that he could be a convincing old Obi-Wan. And if they want to keep the same characters consistent from the prequels to the original trilogy and give fans an alternate, updated, version of those without changing too much, like, I would watch them. I would. I'm not against, and I do think that there are people, and I want to say this too, there are people who say like, oh, well, nobody at Lucasfilm now under Disney cares about Star Wars, or, wants to see it succeed. They just want to have it make money. I don't agree with that at all, especially a guy like Dave Filoni being in there. I may not agree with everything that he thinks about Star Wars. I might not love his, I'm not a huge Clone Wars fan from the second version of Clone Wars. I prefer the first version of Clone Wars. But the last season of Clone Wars is masterful television. The last few episodes of the Clone Wars are some of the best finale of a cartoon television show I've ever seen.
Should have been a movie. And
I agree. And it's better than the Clone Wars movie that we got. for sure it is. I don't even have that on my ranking. Because I just don't count it.
I thought about throwing it on, but then you said 11. I was like, yeah, okay, we'll leave that off.
I just won't do it. And so like I'm not gonna completely write off Star Wars, and I think the fans that say that, like, that attack the actors or that attack fans of the works. It's just like, it's just so meaningless. This is at the end of the day, this is a movie series, and I understand that people feel good about it, but nothing that Disney does changes the fact that you can just watch the Star Wars movies that came out already. Buy a DVD, buy a tape, download the original cuts, Project 4K 77 or 4K 83 or whatever, and just enjoy it the way you want to enjoy it without being awful to somebody else. Because, like you said, that representation was so important. I'm glad we have a female-led Star Wars movie. I think we should have gotten it with Jaina Solo, but I'm glad we got it. So, yeah, I'll take that any day, and I'm good with what I have. I hope Disney fans keep getting good stuff.
Fair enough. I like it. So, oh man, it's my number 7 now. Is that where we're at? Okay. So my number 7 is going to be The Last Jedi. Now, I was kind of the same way with you, man, and a lot of other fans. Like, I walked out of that theater like, nope. Like, I walked out. The wife, girlfriend at the time, she looked at me right after the movie. She's like, well, what'd you think? Like, I don't know, if I'm being totally honest. Like, I like some of it. I hated some of it. Like, I really didn't know. And I went to work the following week, and yeah, everybody was talking about it, because back then I used to have there were 4 or 5 of us were all we did was talk about Star Wars all day at work. So
hey, it sounds pretty great.
Yeah, it was a fun time. It was a lot of fun. We had one guy, he was super negative about the movie, absolutely hated every single moment of it. Some were okay, some really liked it, so it kind of was a big mix of people. And I think I fell into the toxicity, because I even made a video oh, Ryan Johnson ruined Star Wars, and after going back, I'm like, no, he did not. He did what he wanted to do. I didn't agree with the direction he went. I mean, obviously, if we had the same director throughout the entirety of the trilogy, a lot of things would make sense, especially the second chapter in your trilogy. It's once again, I got to keep going back to it, because it's just the best similarity. It's the final chapter of the new Halloween trilogy. They decided to take the swings there. For a lot of people, it didn't work. For some, it was okay. And yeah, Last Jedi did not work. I mean, obviously with you, things did not work with Luke Skywalker. For a lot of people, that was not Luke Skywalker. What Favreau and Filoni did at the end of Mandalorian Season 2, for a lot of people, that's Luke Skywalker. Compilations of everybody bawling their eyes out. I was one of them. I still will cry every time I see that scene. But
right. Yeah.
I'm somebody, I didn't mind with what they did with Luke. I thought it was more of an interesting take. I'm not going to sit here and say I absolutely loved it. Oh my God, phenomenal, best thing they did in Star Wars. No.
Yeah.
I'm a Kylo Ren stan. I will willingly say I love the guy. I love what they do with him. This movie, this is Kylo Ren's movie, and this is, if they would have kept the cape and the mask, this would have been the best Kylo Ren in the entire trilogy for me personally.
Okay.
I like watching Rey progress. Obviously, when we talk about Episode 9, at least on my version of my ranking, I think for this version of Rey, them saying the whole, oh, this is nobody, she's a nobody. My parents were nothing. They were just drunks or whatever. I don't like that part. I just like her being a nobody. Everything on Crate was phenomenal. Sequence-wise, it was a beautiful sequence. Watching that red dust pop up from the planet, it's just iconic. Don't like the fact that Finn was going to sacrifice himself, and God, what's her name now? Rose. Yeah, Rose comes and crashes into him. It's he was going to sacrifice himself to save everybody, but you literally could have killed him right there, and it would have meant nothing. Like,
you know, I'm not one of those people who hates the Rose character like everybody else. No. Oh God. But yeah, I'm not a Rose hater like everybody else is. I actually thought the character was kind of nice having somebody that was like a little more simple in the Star Wars universe, that felt a little more grounded and felt a little. She almost felt like the in between like a childish character, like a Jar Jar Binks, who's like silly and out there, but also somebody who like isn't a complete idiot until that scene, and then it's like. So first they're gonna ruin Finn because in the first one it looks like he's gonna be a Jedi, or he's gonna factor more into the story or something, and then he means kind of nothing in the second movie, and then he's finally gonna mean something. He's finally gonna do something that helps his character like really make an impact, and this girl stops it, like you said, risking his and her own life. It just made no sense to me. Yeah, I'm with you, but that the rest of that sequence is like, I'll say this, like Disney did not do a bad job at the planets that they introduced in their movies. Like even Exegol, to an extent, I like the idea of. So, and the visuals too. Yeah. Everything looked visually solid. So, yeah, totally with you.
But I do agree with you on the whole Canto Bite thing. Like that was like the most pointless part of the movie. Like they literally could have just said, "Oh yeah, our informant is whoever," and it just be Lando. That'd be a good way to introduce Lando into the new trilogy of movies. But and not the comedy, like. I don't want to say it again because I've been doing it the whole stream, but I got to do it again. This movie has the Halloween Kills like formula. Like there's too much comedy in that movie for a movie that's supposed to be serious. And yeah, the comedy they do in this, like with Rey like holding out her hand, and Luke has like a little leaf. And he's sitting there like, oh, do you feel the Force? Oh, I feel it. Oh, does it feel good? Smacks her. No, did not like that comedy. I don't mind mild comedy in Star Wars. This movie had way too much.
I think it's just misplaced comedy. Like, I think that's the issue. Because if you think about it, like, C-3PO is a funny character. But, yes. Like, you build him as being a funny character, and he he generally doesn't break that. When he does, you know it's something serious happening. And it just fits what he's doing throughout the movies. So like, it fits the time that they're happening in. So when you misplace the comedy or you give it to somebody who it doesn't fit with, then it's going to feel out of place. And I think I agree with you there that much of it felt out of place in this movie.
That'd be like making Darth Vader a comedic character in this franchise.
No. Oh God. But yeah, I agree with many of your criticisms there, and I actually appreciate the things that you do like about it from what you said there, because it's I don't think it's a total wash. Like there are people who are going to really love the movie, and I could see how they would, because I enjoyed it the first time I watched it. I actually got a death threat over my enjoyment of the movie when I first watched it. So I sympathize with the fans that both like it and don't like it. I've been in both camps now, so I'm with you there.
Fun fact. This is my wife's favorite Star Wars movie.
Is it?
Yeah.
You know, I always appreciate hearing. And is she like a big Star Wars person, or is she just kind of passive in Star Wars?
Very, very casual.
Casual. Okay, that's exactly like my wife. She hadn't even seen all the Star Wars movies when we got together, and so we just like went on that journey together. And I love talking to her about them because it's so cool to kind of see. For a while, her favorite was Episode 2, and then it was Rogue One, and now she's not sure which one it is because she's got to rewatch them again, and so it's time to rewatch them soon. So yeah, it's I love those conversations, and casual fans of Star Wars, in my opinion, are some of the most fun to talk to about it, of why they like it and stuff, you know.
All I will say is I'm glad she's not a huge Star Wars nerd and has a YouTube channel and says that out loud. The Last Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie. I could not imagine what would happen.
Yeah, that would not be good. That would not be good. Let's see,
Not
something
at
about
all.
them terrible. I can't find reasons to like them. Killed off the Outcast, rewrote the lore. Luke gave up on the Jedi. So B1, I totally get what you're saying there. And as you heard, they are at the bottom of, and they're in the bottom half of my ranking. But what I will say, just to sort of give you maybe something that could help you enjoy the movies, is that, and I don't know if B1 is a Legends head like I am. But the way that I look at it is just like an alternate telling of the stories of where these characters could go. I look at Legends as like my main guide. I really love the characters in Legends. I love all of that stuff. So like that's my guide. But for me, like I try to find ways to enjoy the movies when I watch them. So I think of it as like an alternate telling. I like to focus on the things that I really love about it, which like I know I don't love everything they did with Rey, but I think Rey was really cool. I think it's really cool that we have a female-led group of Star Wars movies. I think introducing a group, a villain that wields a lightsaber is a good idea. It's one of my biggest issues with Heir to the Empire and that Timothy Zahn trilogy is that there's not enough of that, and it would make a less exciting movie. But I get what you're saying too. And if you don't enjoy them, like, and if it's not your thing, then like, don't be made to feel bad about it, but definitely make sure that you're, engaging respectfully with those that do, because it is to them that those movies could be the same as how the original trilogy is for us. So, they definitely have value and importance, but I totally get where you're coming from. Cause as a Star Wars fan, like that's not what I wanted to see. So just try to find a balance if you can. It's hard, but if you can, maybe you'll find some enjoyment out of them, or maybe you'll just find a reason to just, double down on what you love about Star Wars. There's so much to love about it.
Well, again, and that's the thing I'm appreciating with Dave, because he's trying to insert a lot of what George wanted to do with Star Wars right now. So I feel like he's trying to not only make the sequels make more sense, since Kathleen Kennedy flat out came out, she's like, oh yeah, we didn't have a plan. Like, okay, that's not a good sign. So I feel like
I know.
I feel like that's what John and Dave are trying to do right now. They're trying to fill things in, like where the First Order all of a sudden came from, who's Snoke and all that fun stuff. Like,
so sorry.
Oh yeah, dude, I've had cats walking in here. Everything is good, trust me. But yeah, that's just what I'm thinking. Like, again, even though I know I have these higher than you do, again, as somebody who does like what we've got so far, which obviously I'll just forewarn you right now, B1, you didn't like that one. Wait till I talk about the next movie. But
but don't leave B1, because you know where they landed on my list. So I'll get to talk more about some of the ones that hopefully you love in a couple of minutes here. I know, but I do think that both of us kind of provide a pretty good perspective on it, because you like the Disney perspective, but you can see how people would hate it, and I don't like the Disney perspective, but I can see how people would love it. So having that middle ground where we can kind of come together on the things we like and dislike, and like that's just, to me, that's like essential for any kind of movie discourse. So like having B1 here and providing the perspective of somebody who just thinks those movies are terrible is just as important as somebody who loves them. So
exactly.
Watch them like a handful of times, go back and look for the production value. Yeah, production value is solid.
Yes.
Really poor cast, not so great. They do well. Well, I'm glad you found some enjoyment out of the TV shows, at least. I don't know that I agree with you on the cast part, but I totally get what you're saying about the stories and stuff. And at least you do have a way to enjoy new Star Wars stuff with the shows. I think that's important too.
I do feel the shows is where they're shining right now with the
for sure. I mean, for sure.
There is a plan. Like, I look at, like, it's basically what it is, like The Mandalorian and Ahsoka, and I can't think of all the other shows at the top of my head, but they're all one story. They're all coming together, especially, don't know if you even watched it yet, but the Ahsoka show, they brought Thrawn back. Don't know if you know what they've done with Thrawn so far in Disney Star Wars.
Somewhat familiar. I haven't watched the show, but I've tried to keep up with it because I'm aware that I'll see spoilers, so I just seek them out. I'm not gonna have time to watch it. But I try to engage and keep up with it, and I don't really hate. It seems to be pretty in line with what I know of Thrawn from the Legends books that I've read, so it's not like super out there where it's like a different guy. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate. I'm not a big Clone Wars guy, but I do appreciate them at least like attempting to make Ahsoka feel important beyond like the Clone Wars show. So I think that's cool.
Yeah, they are doing a good job so far, at least in my opinion. But yeah, they're supposed to all come together. They pretty much already said they're supposed to go to like an end game. So that's what Dave Filoni's movie is going to be. That's why I keep saying it's Heir to the Empire, because I'm pretty sure Thrawn's going to be the big bad. I mean, they did bring Luke back in Mandalorian and as well as Book of Boba Fett as well. So I do feel there's a good chance that maybe we can see officially / unofficially, the original cast all back and do their thing. But I would say just, I know with Ahsoka, you're not going to know a lot of the background. Like, my buddy Andy, he's just a casual Star Wars fan. So, I mean, he doesn't know all the background of Ahsoka and stuff, but it brings a really good, interesting character in Baylan Skoll. Like, he's hands down one of like the best things that's come out of the Disney Star Wars canon.
That was the one that was played by the Punisher, right? By
Ray Stevenson.
Yeah, R.I.P. I know they have a replacement for him, and it seems like fans are pretty excited about that. And I don't know. I just hope that if they're going to do that whole big movie that ties in, I just hope that you can understand the movie without having to watch all the show. Like, that's my biggest issue is like, do you want me to just live on this all the time? Like Marvel, my dad's telling me all this stuff about Marvel and how I should watch it. But then he's like, oh, but if you want to understand it, you got to watch this show, and then you got to watch Loki, and then you got to watch this. And I'm like, no, I don't like it that much. I'm not doing that. I like other things other than movies, I can't just focus on one thing, So
I would say you could just watch like a compilation of stuff, like all the Thrawn stuff from Rebels.
Right. Yeah.
And some stuff with Ahsoka. I mean, basically the first half of the Ahsoka show is Rebels season 5, essentially, but I don't know. I feel like to a degree you might like Ahsoka, but at the same time, I don't know. I would see your criticisms, but that's just me.
Fair enough. Haven't seen it yet. I thought about going back and watching it, but haven't gotten there yet. So I guess we'll see if I do. But I guess not to get too off course. We're at number 6 now.
Number 6, yes.
Number 6. My number 6 is Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. I will be honest about this. I genuinely love Attack of the Clones. I think there are definitely valid criticisms, but I don't think the entire love angle is as cringeworthy as people make it out to be. There are parts of it that feel awkward. And the dialogue, again, I don't know how George Lucas is married, because nobody would ever say that. But at the same time, that's kind of like the point, right? There's maybe it was unintended and maybe it was supposed to be much more of a traditional love story. But from my perspective, and one of the ways that I'm able to enjoy the film more, the context that I'm putting into it is Anakin is a Jedi who's not supposed to love. Padme is a politician who's not supposed to, fraternize with the Jedi. They're falling in love with each other. Anakin is an awkward, he's just an awkward person to begin with. Padme doesn't know how to love or express genuine emotion because she has been a monarch for much of her life. I mean, she started ruling over Naboo, I think, as far as, I don't know if Disney kept it, but she was a child when she became the queen of Naboo. I think 8 or 10 years old when she started, when she became the queen or whatever. So it would make sense to me that neither of these characters know how to love or know how to navigate it or know how to do anything involving that. That's what makes it spicy. Yeah, and for me, like there are definitely parts of it that don't work, that fundamentally make you uncomfortable, and that needs to be said up front. But like to me, one of the standout moments of the entire franchise, and people can say whatever they want to me about this, I don't care anymore. When they are getting ready to head out to Geonosis, and they share that kiss with the score that kicks in, which to me, that is one of my favorite pieces of Star Wars music, is Across the Stars. That is only pretty much in that movie.
Is that right before they go into the arena?
That is as they are going into it. And it's basically known as like the love theme. There's different versions of it, but that specific part where that score hits and they're coming in, and as they're kind of going out, you just pan out to this big shot of, I mean, like, it's some of the best Star Wars that there is, in my opinion. So the lightsaber duels are great. I think some of the character progression is really cool. It's cool to see the first signs of Anakin kind of shifting to the dark side. I have very minimal complaints about Episode 2 Attack of the Clones, and it used to be at the bottom of my ranking for a long time. But I just love this. I just love it so much. Like you said, Jango Fett's in there too. There's just so much to love about it for me that even my complaints are lessened.
Camino, that is like my favorite part of that whole movie. Like I don't know what it is, man, because like I'm somebody, I love the rain. So like
I get it. Whole time. Yeah, I get it for sure. It's a cool planet.
It is. Like even to it's kind of dumb. Like in my head or even out loud, like at work, if it's raining outside, I'll always like put up my hood. I'll try to do like the whole thing.
Yeah.
God, how does it go again? Oh God, I knew it. I made contact with the Prime Minister of Camino. They're using a bounty hunter named Jango Fett to produce a clone army. That's all I ever remember about that.
Yeah. No, and it's and I don't know if you played the Battlefront games, the newer ones, but Battlefront 2 has that stage in Camino that you can play on, and it's so cool. Yep. I think it is the weakest of the prequel trilogy, but to me, that's like saying it's like my least favorite kid. Like I don't know, man. I love these movies, and I can totally acknowledge how it could be at the bottom of somebody's ranking. Like, again, it might not have been intended by George Lucas, but I found ways to convince myself to really love parts of this movie that would normally not be great for me. So I totally get how this movie could be, the weakest of any Star Wars film for somebody. But for me, I want all the Episode 2 merchandise I can get. I want all that nostalgia. I loved it as a kid. And then as a teenager, I rebelled against it. And now I've accepted it as one of my own once again. So I love Episode 2 Attack of the Clones.
Okay. I will say I do, because that Across the Stars, that also what they play at the end when they get married, right? That's the same score? Yeah. Okay, I was trying to remember the score, but
yeah. When we're done with this, give it another listen. Especially there's one the specific part that I'm referencing is called like Love Pledge / The Arena, I think. And it's got that whole sequence leading up, and when it twists into like, oh, now we're in the arena Geonosis, about to see these people get killed. And by the way, too, what I think I love about Episode 2 as well is that Padme is one of my favorite characters in Star Wars, and this is the movie where she shines. So I love Natalie Portman as Padme in this film too. So that'll be my number 6.
That's that sequence, right? Like, I'm not afraid to die. She says that there.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. I just watched an episode of South Park here a few days ago with Natalie Portman in it. I think she has like the wormhole. I really don't know if I'll ever be able to watch her again.
Well, best wishes. Oh, geez, oh man.
I will also never look at Thanksgiving the same way again. So,
South Park has ruined a lot of things for a lot of people.
Bro, yeah, a few things for me. Yeah, Anakin had Padme alone, and all he kept talking about was his emotion. Zero game, but she still liked him while he complained about Obi-Wan and the Order.
Yeah, but see, B1, that makes sense. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's basically a petulant child who escaped slavery to become a Jedi, and now he's in conflict with his emotions. He's not allowed to express that stuff with the Jedi Order. So I understand why he's all over the place emotionally. He's a bit mentally unstable. But I think that perfectly leads to why he turns to the dark side. So I don't know. I do get why that would be a complaint, though. And you're right, zero game. I don't know how he pulled Padme. Padme is just a goddess on Earth, or on Naboo, I guess. That whiny little dude didn't deserve her. Not that I do either, but that whiny dude definitely didn't. So
Obi-Wan's fault.
No game.
He's holding me back. That whole scene, dude. Oh my god.
I hate them.
Yeah. Really.
I do like parts of that, though. I'll admit I like parts of it, so I can't hate on it too much.
Parts, yes. I will throw a shout out to my buddy Ricky from Pop the Bounty Collector. This is his favorite Star Wars movie, so shout out to you, Ricky.
Would love to have a conversation with that guy about that. That's awesome.
It's an interesting take.
Well, if you ever have an episode where you talk to him about that movie, please let me at least sit in the background. I just want to hear him talk about that. That's amazing.
He does have an episode of Tales of a Star Wars Fan, if you are curious.
I will be watching that immediately. I don't know how I missed that.
I believe he was my third guest, if I remember right.
Well, I'm going back and watching that for sure.
It's an interesting take, but speaking of interesting takes, barely breaking or just missing out on my top 5 is a good old classic movie known as Star Wars Episode 9: The Rise of Skywalker.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I literally could not tell you, dude, what it was, and I'm sorry, B1, I know you don't like this movie, but I'm going to gush about it, and then we'll get to the good stuff that everybody's here for. But, yeah, I don't know what it is, man. I really like this movie. It, to me, is a step up from Last Jedi, because nobody asked for your opinion.
I think it was a riveting opinion.
Oh boy! Sorry, B1. I know.
Blasphemy.
Blasphemy. Yes. I mean, I don't know what it is. Like, walking out of the theater, I was literally probably the only one in my theater who walked out. Actually, had tears in my eyes, and not of disappointment or anger or anything. But I don't know what it was. That final scene gets me all the time. I know everybody hates the fact that Rey calls herself a Skywalker. I don't look at it as her calling herself a Skywalker. I feel as though she's just trying to carry on the legacy of the Skywalkers. So I know a lot of people, they're like, oh, if they make a new movie with her and they call her Master Skywalker, I'm just getting up and leaving. Like, she's continuing the legacy of the Skywalker name. That's how I look at that. Obviously, I already knew heading into this trilogy that they were going to do stuff with Kylo, and obviously by the end, they were going to be redeemed and everything. So I did like what they did with Kylo. I still like I didn't say it for Last Jedi, but I like the Force connection between Rey and Kylo. I think it's really good, especially in this movie when they're on Kijimi and it keeps going from Kylo's Star Destroyer down to Kijimi, and they're basically fighting from two completely different areas. And I don't know, just seeing Luke come back, finally being a Force ghost, finally getting to see him raise the X-Wing out of the water was a phenomenal scene to see as well. And even though it's a Frankenstein mess, I mean, with what they did in here with Carrie Fisher, I think was good and respectful enough. Like, to me, killing her the way they would have in Last Jedi, that would not have worked for me. To me, this was a much more respectful way of getting rid of the Princess Leia character to a degree. And especially, I have the unpopular opinion. I look at the original trilogy cast in all these films as they're all sacrificing themselves to save Ben. Like the first movie, you have Han talking, trying to get Ben to come out of Kylo. The second movie, obviously, with Luke, that whole amazing Force connection scene with him from Octo to Crate. That was a phenomenal sequence. And the same thing here with Rhea. I'm sorry, man. I know. I understand. Please hear me out. Just hear me out. That's how I look at it. They're all trying to sacrifice themselves. They're all trying to save Ben. Obviously, by the end, obviously he turns back to the light, sacrifices his life to save Rey. Because even that sequence there, I look at it as after Rey kills Palpatine, Palpatine is dead. And that's when Ben gives his life to save Rey, and that's when you get the whole Rey Skywalker situation, whatever. I don't know, man. Like, there are so many huge problems with this movie, but I still have a fun time. I still love this movie. It's not like to the level of like my top 5, but it's still a movie I enjoy a lot more. It feels more closer to The Force Awakens, where Last Jedi kind of just feels like a new reboot in a weird way to the trilogy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like this film. It's a 3.5 for me. I know it's unpopular, but that's just my opinion, man.
I respect it. And I didn't say what Attack of the Clones was for me. I have that at a 4 as well as Rogue One, just above Rogue. Like I do a score out of 100 as well. So it's a 4-star, but it's a little better of a 4-star. But yes, as far as this film is concerned, I do understand how you could have been in the theater in tears from what's happening on screen, not because you hated it, but because you were feeling something for the characters, because I was the same way. I cried through most of that movie. I cried at the freaking at the C-3PO sequence where he was like sacrificing potentially himself. I was like, I just the whole movie I was a little baby because I was like, this is the Star Wars trilogy for my for my theatrical experience. It just didn't unfortunately age well for me personally. But the one thing that I want to touch on what you brought up there was the Force connection. And to me, I think one of the biggest issues that I have with this movie, and I'd be curious if it's one of the issues that B1 had with it. But like by the prequels, I liked how we had the Force kind of figured out, like I didn't need it to be any more than it was. I didn't necessarily need the whole midichlorians thing, but it's like, if you're going to do that, that's fine. I don't hate that like everybody else does. Whatever, come up with an explanation if you'd like. That's fine. My biggest issue is when they just like introduce these new Force powers and it's just like, oh, this is just a part of it. And you're just like, well, what do you mean this is a part of it? This wasn't a part of it in any of your books. This wasn't a part. And I'm not even just talking about Legends. I'm talking about Disney's books, talking about everything. And while I think there are good ways to do that, like when Rey shot that beam of lightning out, I thought that was a really cool sequence when she was trying to save the ship and ended up. That is technically a new thing that we haven't seen before with the extent of how that lightning worked. We've seen Force lightning, but not quite the way that she did it. I liked that, but the Force projection, I was not a fan of. I was not a fan of the Force projection. I felt like that was going too far with the Force, and Force healing. I'm not totally against, but I think it should be something that's like really heavily learned. Like that has to be something that you spend years learning, like it was in Legends, because that feels like something that's like, oh, well, if everybody can heal with the Force, why aren't they? So I get how those sequences can be looked at positively, because I think at first kind of did, but that to me was like what went a little too far. Was just like, how far are you going to push the Force to where it's just like too far? I don't know if it went too far for most, but for me it was just like, But I'm going to stay consistent. I also did not like the crazy force speed in episode 1. I'm going to stay consistent. I did not like the vampire speed in episode 1 because that's never brought up again, never used again in Star Wars. So
all I see is the Flash.
It's pretty much exactly what the Flash. I did not like that at all. That is something I still don't like with the movie. I wish it wasn't in there. But it is what it is. So I will stay consistent.
Yes. Yeah. And again, man, obviously we keep saying it. We all view movies in a different way. We all feel different ways when we watch a movie. And like I said, even for some people, I 100% understand and see why this movie arguably is the worst Star Wars movie ever made. I totally get it.
I could see how somebody would think this is the best though. Like as far as like moments that it delivers on and like the nonstop, just like I could see how this could be somebody's number one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, yeah, I viewed this a lot differently than a lot of other people did in my theater. Obviously, fans as well, and obviously our chat as well. Obviously, everybody has seen this in a different way, but I don't know, man. I'm a defender. I like this movie a lot. It's one I look forward to. Now, I will say this. I will say Return of the Jedi is a better ending to the franchise, I guess we could say. If like literally we never got any other movies, I would be 100% satisfied with Return of the Jedi being the end.
So I guess my hypothetical question to you is, if you had to pick one to end the movies for Star Wars, like they can't make another Star Wars movie. If they do, it can't be with these characters. You have to pick which one you'd prefer. Which one would you pick? Would you pick Return of the Jedi, or would you not want to give up that love for the Disney movies to keep that ending?
As much as I love Disney, I was about to say Rogue One. Jesus, that's not a good ending. Oh man, everybody dies in that one. But,
there's some hope in that ending, but yeah, it's everybody's dead.
Yeah, I would pick Return of the Jedi. Like it is still, like it literally feels like the end when you watch that series. Like,
yeah.
Again, even though I like Rise of Skywalker, I mean, clearly I like Return of the Jedi more than it. So obviously when we get to that movie is when we'll get to that and I will discuss and hopefully not make as many people upset, but
yeah, I know. We'll see. I don't want to make, I'm curious. I might be getting ready to make somebody upset in a minute. I just hope that I don't get too controversial, but not JPEG. May the 4th be with you as well. Thank you.
Good to see you back here. Not JPEG. Always a pleasure to see you. And ever played Fortnite, Star Wars Galactic Battle? I do not like Fortnite. That game can burn into the depths of hell, in my personal opinion.
I am not a Fortnite guy either. I played twice. I'm very bad. When I played it, it was still just Fortnite. So like there wasn't all these crazy characters and all that stuff. It was just Fortnite. You just build and shoot. So yeah, not for me. But I'm glad people enjoy it. It's kind of cool that there's some Star Wars stuff in there. So I'll take that. Turkish Star Wars, up or down? I don't think I have an opinion.
I don't know. I don't know, man.
Great question. I just wish I had a better answer. I don't really have anything for you. Oh, geez.
And B1, not sure what this is a remark to, but again. So, all right, Connor. Top 5 time.
I think I'm about to make B1 upset. I think me and B1 have been pretty in tune so far. I think I'm about to make B1 upset, and I think I'm about to make you upset.
Yeah, he's not been happy with me this stream, but again, as long as he respectfully disagrees.
Yeah. I mean, I love having B1 here. I love the comments so far, and it's very civil, which is sometimes rare in the Star Wars universe of fans. So, thank you both, not JPEG and B1 for your comments so far. My number 5 came out 20 years ago this year. It is Revenge of the Sith. So let me preface this by saying, the only reason that this movie is not higher is because the end really has. Who remembers seeing the Millennium Falcon in Spaceballs? I am wearing a Spaceballs shirt right now. Spaceballs is absolutely a part of my Star Wars day, and I love the fact that they hid the Falcon in the background of Spaceballs. So yes, that is. Thank you, not JPEG, for bringing up the best Star Wars parody in a world of pretty good Star Wars parodies.
I've only seen that movie once.
Oh man, I it's one of my favorite comedy movies of all time. However, so the ending of episode 3, the very end of episode 3 with the no is really what does it to me. Yes, exactly. What B1 has right here. That to me hurt the movie a lot because the last thing that I want in a very serious moment is to laugh. And I just can't help but laugh. I try so hard to be like, no, I can defend that. I just can't. And it takes away from everything we just saw because most of the time I'm still wiping tears away at this point, and then I'm giggling at something that's supposed to be very tragic. That said, one of the fastest ways to get me to cry is to make me watch the Order 66 sequence. The score is perfect. The editing and framing of shots is perfect. Everything about that sequence is one of the great, for me and my personal taste in film, that is one of the greatest sequences in film history. I put it up there with any other movie. It is perfection. But there are moments of the movie that do hurt it a little bit. Padme is pretty much useless. And as much as I love that character, I'm really sad that she is so just the helpless pregnant woman the whole time. The person that was so strong that we just saw in episode 2 is no longer as strong and as powerful. I get it. She's pregnant and stuff, but like, she's a fighter, man. Like, I don't know. I have small minor complaints, but I give it a 4.5 out of 5. I think it is an incredible film, and I could see it moving up higher on my list, but right now it just can't beat the nostalgia of the remaining movies on there, despite having heavy nostalgia for Revenge of the Sith. So that's where it goes for me.
I love the fact in the first Battlefront they added the no as like an emote. So
I know.
No. I used to play my main guy I played as when I was the Rebels. I had the Nine Nub guy.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
He was the best. Yeah, you just see him just walk. No. I would spam that so hard. You can go back and watch any of my old Battlefront streams I did, man. I loved it. God, I loved it so much.
In my opinion, there has not been a bad Battlefront game. Like, that first Battlefront game was kind of weak. I mean, compared to the second one. But when you compare both of those to did you play the original 2 Battlefront games?
Oh,
Undisputed.
This Battlefront 2 from 2005 is my favorite Star Wars game of all time.
It's one of my favorite video games of all time. I mean, I played that game so much, and the amount of Jedi you could be in that game was just... My favorite Jedi as a kid was Ki-Adi-Mundi, so the fact that I could be him in a game was lights out for me. I loved that game so much. But that's where I'm putting episode 3. I'm sorry I know how that movie is looked upon, and I agree with you that it's one of the best Star Wars movies. I think it's one of the best 5 Star Wars movies, but it just couldn't beat out the nostalgia of the other ones for me. So I have to put it there.
What's crazy about you talking about Revenge of the Sith right now? That movie is borderline on the edge for its re-release of making $1 billion already.
I am so proud of Disney for allowing these re-releases to happen. First of all, the graphic artist that makes these posters for these re-releases is up there with any Star Wars art that I've ever seen. They are incredible, and there's so much hype around them that it feels like you have to get to the theaters again. Like my health was kind of not fantastic when they released the episode 1, which makes me sad. I didn't get the chance to go out and get that, to go out and watch it rather in theaters. I think I'm going to get the chance to see this one. I will find out. I don't know. When does it leave theaters?
I think it's only in theaters for like a week or two, I think.
A week or two? Okay, so I'm going to try to see it. I'm going to be sad if I can't, but I'm not going to beat it myself up. But yeah, I think it's well deserved that these movies hit higher benchmarks with these re-releases. I don't think that's cheap at all. Any movie could do a re-release anytime they want, and it's not going to get the same hype. So yeah, love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Well, we'll catch up with the chat here. Thoughts on the second seasons of The Bad Batch and Andor? Haven't seen Andor season 2 yet. Definitely taking my time because I am not an Andor fan. I don't like the character. I don't think there should be a show centered around this character, personally, to me. And Bad Batch season 2, when it's good with Crosshair. But when you get to the Sid side missions, it is an ungodly, terrible slog to get through.
I have no opinion. I haven't seen either.
Okay. B1, it's in my top 5, so I'm with you.
I'm glad I didn't make you too upset there, B1. We're still on the same wavelength.
Yes. Darth Vader is part of my own top 3 villain introductions, with the other 2 being Shredder from the 1990s Ninja Turtles and the Joker from 2008's The Dark Knight.
Good company.
And haven't seen it, heard Bad Batch was okay. It's a decent show. I mean, again, when it's good, it's good. Like the very first episode's probably the best. It ties into Order 66 very well. Definitely the best episode. All right.
We're at your number 5, sir.
My number 5. Okay. I feel like this movie is going to go up at some point. But as of right now, yeah, at my number 5 is going to be episode 6. Return of the Jedi.
Whoa. I'm actually really surprised to hear that.
I will say, I do love this movie. Like, as a kid, it's weird. I've had a few of these Star Wars movies be my favorite for, like, a while until I get to a new one. So, Return of the Jedi was probably my first favorite as a kid. And then, obviously, as I developed, then I loved Empire, which obviously we'll get to Empire when we get to that. And then same thing too with episode 3. But I would literally look at Return of the Jedi as the Star Wars movie. Like the first half hour, it's fun. Like I would look at that. To me, if they would have taken that whole first 30 minutes of everything they do on Tatooine, you throw that on TV and have that be like a special, like before Return of the Jedi actually comes out. I would believe, man, like the hype would have been like 10 times more. Like get to see, oh, okay, cool. This was just a fun little because that's what the beginning feels like to me. It feels more like an episode of television. It's not a negative. Like it's still an absolutely fun blast of a time, getting to see a blind man hit Boba Fett and him fall into the Sarlacc pit. I mean, getting to see Jabba actually be a presence and him be a villain in that movie as well. Obviously, we get Slave Leia, so I don't need to go any farther with that. But, but the first 30 minutes is fun. But then after that, it does change in tone. It starts to get a little bit darker the farther along we go. And I mean, dude, everything from Luke and Vader having that conversation there on that walkway is great. You start seeing the shades of Anakin. Everything from there all the way to the end, I would give that 5 stars. Like to me, that is probably the best, maybe like second half to the third act, probably the best out of the entire franchise. Like it's phenomenal. The lightsaber duel with Luke and Vader is arguably the most emotional lightsaber duel in the entire franchise, besides Obi-Wan versus Vader in Revenge of the Sith. Obviously, I'll talk about that when we get to that as well.
Right.
Not the biggest fan of the Ewoks. I will say that. They're
Okay.
fine. They are fine. They're not fantastic, but they are fine. I just think it's a little weird how the Ewoks are kind of the reason that the Empire falls during the Battle of Endor. It's just a me thing. Something I'll probably get over at some point. Obviously, to anyone who needs to know, I have a kid on the way. Going to be here in probably like 3 weeks. So I feel like once I introduce them to the world of Star Wars, that'll be an immediate, yep, that. I like that. Yep.
Congrats again, by the way. I've said it a lot in private, but congratulations again. I'm very excited for you guys.
I appreciate that, man. I really like that. Means a lot. Like letting a lot out here. Something I never thought would happen. Personal reasons, obviously. We will talk about that off camera. But yeah. Never thought it would happen. So
you're gonna have to redo your collection. Make sure that all of your valuables are out of reach.
Yeah, my favorites are at the top.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah. But no, I think you're right. It's very kid. The Ewoks are incredibly kid friendly.
Yeah, I do like them. Again, I just think it's a little weird how they're the reason that the Empire falls. But that's just me. Thank you, B1. Definitely appreciate that a lot. And obviously, this is actually when we get the Emperor, because obviously if you've watched the original version of Empire Strikes Back, the Emperor looks a little strange. That is one thing I will say. I actually think I like a little bit more about the special edition, as they give like 2005 Palpatine there.
Oh, I guess I'll get to that. I'll get to that once I talk about that movie. But I know what you mean. I know how somebody could like that more. Yeah.
To a degree. To a degree. But obviously, again, we'll get to Empire when we get to Empire. But
right. Yeah.
But, and I do, man, and I know the song changed at the end, but once again, another thing I like about the special edition, I like that music a lot at the end. I know you like the Yub Nub version of the ending. I remember that from our conversation, but
we'll see. We got to get to that movie too. So I guess I'll save my remarks on that. But I am curious. So have you seen the original cut of Jedi?
No, I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen the original cut of any of them. Like I said, I have them up here on the shelf. I still need to watch them.
Got it. Okay.
So much is going on in life. I have like no time to watch anything.
No, yeah, totally. I would be curious. We should, if you ever have need some inspiration for something, having a video where you have some people on and discuss the differences of the three cuts of, like, at least like the broader ones. And then just like which one you prefer. I think that would be an interesting conversation, because there are the defenders of both of them. So I'm a defender of actually both of them. So yeah, okay. But I'm be curious to what you would think about those when you watch them. But continue.
But yeah, that ending song, man, like I get so emotional. Like it hits in the right spots with everybody hugging, and then the ending with all of them just standing there victorious. And that finale and that close, like, yeah, it's so good. Like I said, if I could pick like the Star Wars movie, I would say this is it. It has everything. The final battle of Endor is phenomenal. Like, arguably one of the best space battles in all of Star Wars. We'll get to mine here in a little bit when we get to that, but. No, man, like I love Return of the Jedi. Like I said, this is the Star Wars film I feel is going to go up, and I would agree with what B1 just said. It literally is one of the greatest Star Wars movies, and I would even argue putting it as one of the greatest movies of all time. Like, just with what they do with all the characters, Vader's redemption, returning Anakin back to the light side of the Force. It's great. Like, my problems are very minuscule. On my letterbox, it's a 4, but it's a 4.5. Like I said, I do have this sense that one day it is going to be my second favorite Star Wars movie.
Oh, that's exciting. I hope it gets there one day. I will say I did see a comment before from not JPEG that I want to address. It's also Star Wars. Oh, okay. So this one, yeah, the Blade Runner. Yes, I'm with you there. But your next comment is definitely one that I am a defender of the disco Star Wars theme. I think that theme is awesome. It is a very fun listen. Obviously, I'd prefer the orchestral version, but that disco theme, it's up there. It's a good one. I will never say a bad word about disco Star Wars.
And another question for Not JPEG, tier list, ranking of these Family Guy Star Wars parodies.
Ooh, I haven't seen those recently enough to give you a definitive ranking. I think I like Blue Harvest the best though. That's the name of one of them, right? Blue Harvest.
That's A New Hope, basically.
Yeah. I think that one was my favorite.
I can't watch that because now I feel like if I watch Blue Harvest and then I go and I watch A New Hope, I feel like it's going to make it worse for me. I don't want to.
I will say sometimes the parodies make Star Wars worse for me, and sometimes they make them better. I think that's why I love Spaceballs so much, is because like it's silly about Star Wars, but everything I love about Star Wars is also still in Spaceballs. Like the effects and the magic of movie making is still very much in. It's a respectful, like indirect parody. Whereas like Family Guy is very direct. So Family Guy and so could Robot Chicken, could genuinely ruin parts of Star Wars for you. So I don't tend to revisit those as frequently, but yeah.
JPEG, one of the greatest. Read any Star Wars fan fiction with Battlestar Galactica and or Transformers? I have not.
No, can't say I have. Not a big fan fiction guy myself. My wife reads some, but not me.
In cinema, I mean, Count of Monte Cristo was good because he was dueling with the guy that took his life. But Luke and Vader, father-son, son saves father, kills the guy who destroyed his whole life. Greatest of all time.
Can't disagree with you there. Yeah, I love the discourse so far. Yeah, I think he hit it. I think he hit it pretty well there.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess that takes us to 4, right?
Yes, sir.
So I want to say this: my 5, my 4, and my 3 are all 4.5-star movies in my opinion. My top 2 are both 5 stars. So here's where I get a little bit of hate, but I think people are going to like it that it's not above the other ones. The Phantom Menace is my number 4.
That's your favorite prequel movie, then?
It is my favorite of the prequels. I'm wearing a Star Wars Episode 1 hat right now to rep it. I feel like it's the movie I defend the hardest of any Star Wars film.
Okay.
Because I just don't see what everybody else sees, man. Like, they hate Jar Jar. I really don't hate Jar Jar. They hate the Gungans. I really don't hate the Gungans. They hate the battle droids. I love the battle droids. Yes. They hate the CGI. I think it's charming as hell. I think, like, the fact that they were able to do that in the late 90s and like it was way advanced, and sure, it hasn't aged well, but to me, like that's what it looked like for me. Like that, I watched the movie as a kid and it looked like magic. And to me, it's still magic. And it doesn't age as poorly as some movies of the time, like Spawn from 97 or from, movies that are similar that implement Mortal Kombat Annihilation. It's not like that, but it's, like I don't have a single major complaint about The Phantom Menace. I don't have one single major complaint about the movie at all. Minor complaints, yes. The Force running, stupid. There's some lines of dialogue that really don't work. The racial stereotypes, okay, they were unnecessary, but I get it. But yeah. And JPEG, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for commenting as well. I see that you got to go. You have a good rest of your day, and may the 4th be with you. But yeah, everything that you talked about being great about the movie, when you talked about it, I agree with. The Duel of the Fates is incredible. The score is incredible. I think it goes without saying that any movie with John Williams in the Star Wars universe has just a masterful score, the best of any series in film, in my opinion. But yeah, pod racing, duels with the lightsabers. I mean, even the whole sequence at the palace in Naboo, I think is great. So yeah, everything. I don't have one major complaint about the Phantom Menace.
Okay. Okay, I like it. I like it a lot. Another quick shout out. I know she hasn't been on the channel, but her channel is called The Rayside. Phantom Menace is her favorite Star Wars movie. So
we got to get all these. We got to get a bunch of people on your channel whose favorite is not the first Star Wars or Empire. I think those are the two. I would love to hear them talk about why their favorites are their favorites.
I always either hear Empire or Revenge of the Sith. Those are the two I hear the most all the time of like the best Star Wars movies.
I would love to hear anybody with an unpopular pick for the top one, because I think they're so fun, and because it's always genuine. Like, it's never just like, I like it because I like it. It's always just like, no, I love it because it just shows you what they look for in Star Wars, and I think that's so fascinating. But yeah, that is my number 4 is the Phantom Menace. It is my favorite prequel film.
You said you give it a 4.5?
4.5. Yep.
Okay.
Just under the 4.5 that I gave the movie above it. But just above the last 4.5.
Okay. Respect it. Don't agree, but I respect it. I respect it a lot.
I'm a weird one.
Hey, man. Again, like I said, you don't like what we like, and I mean, it's definitely, especially that being your favorite prequel. That's the thing I respect the most about it. Like I said, the first 2 of the prequels seem to just get a lot of hate. Like, again, I have more problems with Attack of the Clones, clearly more than you do. Which
yeah.
I mean, but no, they're not bad movies. Like, once again, Connor, to steal a line from you, they're not that bad.
Yeah, right. Well, I appreciate you shouting us out there, but yeah, that's I don't think there's a single movie, even the ones that I rated really low, like I don't think they're terrible movies. I think the only one that I could see a point for it being a bad movie is Rise of Skywalker, but that's just because of like all the things that are like, I guess from a what people would expect from a film. I get how you could say that it's a bad movie, but I think all like technically are very well crafted. I think that the issues that I have are more so with like the stories or how they handle characters or things like that. But the movie itself, I don't think is bad. Well acted for the most part. Okay dialogue, great story, great world building, great characters. So yeah, I'm with you. It's hard to hate on most of this franchise for me too. But where are you at for number 4? Where are we clocking in for you here?
Number 4 for me will be Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
I respect the hell out of that.
Well, I guess another one, all my casual friends, like my buddy Andy, and I think Brandon too. Like, I have like 3 or 4 friends. Rogue One's their favorite Star Wars movie. So
it's probably in my wife's top 3, I'd say.
I look at Rogue One, man. If you are literally just a casual fan of Star Wars, I could see this being your favorite. Like that. Well, except for Brandon, he's more of a huge Star Wars fan. But like, I could see a very casual Star Wars fan watching this and be like, that was a damn good movie. Like, it feels more like a war movie. You know, you get, all your good Star Wars aesthetics. You get the stormtroopers, you get the Empire, you get Darth Vader later on in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But you also see, though, like in the original trilogy, how the rebels are like the good guys. But you don't see the things they do in the background. I know that's one of the huge things people love about the Andor show. And again, I got to just go back. I got to try and give it more of a chance. Again, my negatives, I don't like Cassian Andor at all, but I see why, the seediness of what goes on behind the scenes of the rebellion. I see why they picked him to have a show for. I just don't agree
Yeah.
with it. I think with Jyn Erso, I think she's an okay character. I don't think she's phenomenal by any means. I liked her the first time I watched it, but the more and more I watch it, she's just kind of...
There's some questionable direction here and there for her character to go. But, yeah.
Like, I don't know, she just feels stale. Like, there's a few times where she shows good emotion, like when the planet of Jeddah is getting attacked by the Death Star and she's watching the hologram of her father. Like, that whole scene, that was pretty emotional. But
yeah, oh yeah.
But also, dude, everything with Darth Vader, for me too, everything on Scarif is phenomenal. Like,
even the new stormtrooper outfits that they have for Scarif, I thought were really cool. Like, I didn't love the First Order stormtrooper look, but those Scarif troopers they were awesome. They were really cool.
Yeah, man, the shore troopers, I love the look of those. Like,
oh yeah,
they're more like they literally look like sand. Like, and I like that a lot. And obviously too, man, the Death Troopers. Oh my god! Like, I saw them in the trailer.
Very cool.
I was a happy boy. That's all I was saying.
Very cool. Yeah. I'm with you.
But like director Krennic, like I loved. I don't know, maybe unpopular, maybe this is even sacrilege to say because I might get some looks, but like I love the Empire. They're my favorite faction in all of Star Wars. Like, I love them. I don't know what it is, but director Krennic, he was an awesome character. I really liked him. I wish he could have stuck around. I'm glad we get to see him in this new season of Andor, and he shows up a little bit in, I believe it was Bad Batch season 3. He pops up again, so it's cool to get to see him added back into the world. Earlier I talked about it. The entire Battle of Scarif, as well as the space battle, is my favorite space battle in all of Star Wars. It is phenomenal. It's raw. It's exciting. It's tension filled. And dude, that battering ram scene where they hit that Star Destroyer, oh my god, destroy the force field around Scarif. It's a damn good scene.
I was on the edge of my seat for that whole ending sequence. Like, just everything. Like, I felt like they were going to survive. Like, part of me was just like, yeah, like everybody has to die, but like they're going to live, right? And
yeah.
I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously Rogue One, how can you not talk about that Vader hallway scene? Like, that was probably, it's in my top 5 favorite Vader moments of all time. Like, it was, that shows you how ruthless and how much Vader does not care about your life. He will do what he needs to do to get to his objective. Watch the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. He literally kills a random person, just uses the Force and chokes him. Tries to burn Obi-Wan alive. Like, dude.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. The 2 things Disney has nailed with Star Wars. Adding to Order 66, everything they've done with Order 66, my God. Between, like, Fallen Order, obviously, besides the Reva stuff in Obi-Wan. And I believe they show it, too, once again, in, Book of Boba Fett. It's phenomenal. And the thing I think they've nailed the most is Darth Vader. Like, this Darth Vader is ruthless. He is mean. I'll even say it. Hayden Christensen to me is the best Darth Vader of all time. Like, everything he does in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, my God, that's the best Darth Vader I've seen.
I think even in Rogue One, where you get like that sequence from earlier in the movie where he talks to Krennic, like even that to me is like one of my biggest complaints about those first 3 movies. I love them so much and I wouldn't change a thing about them, but I just wish that we had more material to explore why Darth Vader is so feared and revered and all of that stuff. And like they did a good job of like doing it in comic books and, you know, Legends material and even some Disney material that was like written, but I felt like we needed that on screen. So like getting that, he was super intimidating. And if that was the only scene we got of Vader in the movie, I would have been happy. But then we got that hallway sequence and it was just like done. Like that is, to me, that was the definitive Darth Vader moment in the entire franchise for me outside of one I'm going to talk about later. So I guess number 2, until I got the moment from Obi-Wan. That to me is like, that might be that's probably still my number 2, but it's fantastic. So yeah, totally with you. There's a lot to like. And even from what you just said right there, I think you might've just helped the movie for me. I'm going to give it a rewatch the next time I go through these Star Wars movies and see if it doesn't, I don't see it moving up my ranking, but I do see maybe the rating going up. So hopefully I can do so. You might've helped the movie for me. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Like, yeah, anytime. As far as like another negative, like besides Jin and everybody else we've already talked about, I guess except for me, like I love Donnie Yen's character Chirrut. Like I love him. Like to me, that's the best character in the whole movie. Everybody else is just forgettable. Like literally, you could ask me name 5 members of the Rogue One squad, and I'd look at you and be like, I can name 2.
Oh, I couldn't name anybody from that movie. I mean, except for Krennic. That was really the only one I could, and the characters we know, like Darth Vader and, Tarkin and Leia.
That's the other thing I never said either is I actually think these guys do better with like the putting the face on than they did in Furious 7. Like Tarkin, like that is so convincing that is Peter Cushing. And at the end of Rogue One, like I would literally have thought that was Carrie Fisher standing there.
It was a little uncanny for me. I think they did better from the clips that I've seen of the, and I know a lot of time had passed, but the clips I've seen of Luke in Book of Boba Fett, I think is like, that's some of the best I've ever seen, I think. Fast and Furious was fine. They put that little filter around it, so it like kind of helped it, but it was a little rough. But yeah, I think it was, I do kind of wish they would have done a little bit more movie magic. Like Tarkin is he's in the end of episode 3. If you look close enough, but they put like a mask on a guy. And rough. I thought it looked okay from far away, but I'm sure it would have looked bad up close. I don't know. I thought it was cool seeing them though, especially Tarkin. I liked seeing him again because he's only in that one movie and then he's gone. So it was cool having more of him, larger sample size.
Yeah, I thought they nailed it, man. But yeah, no, Rogue One, like arguably, I would say this is the best Star Wars movie Disney has done. Obviously, there's still one I have not talked about that I do personally think is better, but I would say maybe even besides The Mandalorian, this is probably the best thing Disney's done since they've been in control.
I think it's one of them. It's in my top 3. I would say number 1, Obi-Wan, number 2, Mando, number 3, Rogue One. So I'm right there with you.
All right.
Oh boy, we're in the top 3.
Top 3. Let's hear it, man.
So anybody keeping track so far kind of knows what movies I have left. And I know I kind of seem like your typical millennial Star Wars fan now. Technically, I'm not even a millennial. I'm kind of in between. But the original trilogy is in my top 3. And I'm kicking us off at number 3 with the 4.5-star Star Wars from 1977. It is the magic of movie making in a film. Everything that I love about movies and the process of making a movie is either shown on screen or heard in the behind the scenes. The fact that this movie would have been unwatchable had it not been for George Lucas's wife is fascinating to me. Some of the scenes that we see in this movie are just beautiful. And I cry every single time the twin sunsets show up or the twin suns on Tatooine and that score hits and Luke's looking out into the suns. Every single time, I can't control it. It's just, I get goosebumps and tears come out of my eyes and I tell my wife not to look at me.
That's my favorite theme in all of Star Wars is the Force.
It is one of my favorites for sure. It is a movie that I think... See, I do have a major complaint about Star Wars, and I said I don't have a major complaint about Phantom Menace, but I think the highs of the original Star Wars are higher than that of the Phantom Menace. the major complaint that I have with this movie that stops it from being in my top 2 is the fact that it kind of feels like 2 movies. You know, we get this whole sequence through the Death Star of them sneaking around and the death of Obi-Wan and their escape. And then we have a whole nother segment of the movie that is a second climax. So there's kind of 2 climaxes in the film, and that's always thrown the pacing off for me a little bit. The movie just has such a down before it gets back up to the climax. And the down's not bad. It's good stuff, but it's just like, oh, we just had an ending of the movie and now we have another ending of the movie coming. But even with that, it's just a pacing thing. I still love the story beats that we were given. I still love all the characters that were given, the world that was built. I love that the world feels lit. One of my biggest complaints about sci-fi is that it, especially of the time, is everything feels so clean and sterilized, and like Star Wars is lived in, man. Like it is a world that has existed. You can see the lives of every character on their faces. You could reasonably believe that all these people have backgrounds, which is why the Power of the Force action figure line was so cool in the 90s, because you got every character, everybody from the background characters in the cantina to you know, the one to the Ponda Baba who gets their arm cut off by Obi-Wan. Everybody had a backstory, and you believe it all. So it's the magic of movie making. I have complaints about it, but it's one of my favorites to revisit. I wore through the tape as a kid, and I'll gladly probably do it again. So Star Wars 1977, or Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, is going to be my number 3 at a 4.5 star movie.
Respect it. I do feel, man, like even just having this conversation, like I do need to give this movie another watch. Like I said, it's been like 4.5, almost 5 years since I've sat down and watched all the Star Wars movies. Like I think I like randomly turned them on one day when I was sick, but I never got to actually sit down and watch them. I would just lay down and turn a movie on, and then I passed out and I never even got to watch it. So,
yeah.
It's been damn near 5 years since I sat down and watched the Star Wars movies. So I feel like maybe I'll do that because once the baby's here, I get 2 weeks off. So I think sitting down and watching the Star Wars movies sounds like a good way to spend my first few weeks with my child.
Yeah, man, it's a good way to celebrate and to start them early, you know.
Exactly.
But I'm with B1. Yeah, please rewatch these because even like I think there's something. Some people tell me, like, I'll talk to my dad a lot, and he watches a lot of new stuff, not so much movies, but he's a TV guy. He watches a lot of shows on streaming services and stuff, and he just is always like, well, I'm like, I don't know how you have time for all this. And he's like, well, if you weren't rewatching movies. And I was like, no, but there's a lot of value you get from rewatching a movie. You might notice something you've never seen before. You might feel that feeling that you felt again when you first watched it. You might feel something different that makes you enjoy or dislike the movie more. So to me, like, Star Wars is the one I revisit more than any other, but like Mel Brooks is one of my favorite directors of all time. I revisit his movies all the time, and I laugh just as hard as I did the first time I watched them. Sometimes harder because I get the jokes more, or I catch something else that's in there. So it's like there's a magic in rewatching movies, and I think Star Wars is like a perfect example of why.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely excited to hear your thoughts post rewatch.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we might even have to just have a full stream talking about A New Hope. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to have a different opinion. So
I'm happy to come on anytime you want me. But that's a conversation you can have with anybody. I mean, it's Star Wars. That was the title of the movie. That's the title of the franchise. So yeah, I'm excited to hear your thoughts after this conversation and a bunch of more conversations about it and rewatches and all that stuff, because I think I'm excited to see how you come out of that. But yeah, B1, totally totally there with you, man. It'd be fun.
I will say that is something I want to do on the channel, because I mean, obviously it's mostly what I try to talk about on my channel. Obviously it's been a bit of a drought of Star Wars stuff here on my channel lately, but that is something I want to do, is sit down with guests, bring somebody on, and do watch alongs and watch all the movies. Like that's what I want to do, because Everybody's got their own opinion on these movies. I mean, hell, who knows? Maybe if I sat down and watched all these movies with you and did a whole watch series, who knows? Who knows? Maybe I might not like Disney movies much anymore. I don't know.
Or even like, and that's something, because I know sometimes it can be hard for the people watching the streams to get on with a full rewatch, even just a discussion. Like sometimes those discussions, and like if you just freshly watch a movie and talk about it, like that's the biggest thing I learned about Not That Bad, about doing that show, is like I bring up this example on our podcasts and on our videos a lot, but we covered Child's Play 3 for one of them, and I watched the movie and I had it fresh on my mind, and I didn't really love it. I was going to give it a that bad rating on the show, and by the end of it, I gave it a not that bad because of everything Gabe told me. I rewatched the movie a couple weeks later, and it's one of my favorites in that entire franchise now. Yep. So just having these discussions are sometimes so important in how you feel, because like we've said on the show, on the stream a lot so far, there's no reason for you to try to hate a movie or to try to dislike a movie. Everybody wants to have a good time and enjoy what they're watching. So yeah, I would love to do something like that. That would be a lot of fun, I think. And I'm curious if our opinions would change drastically. Maybe one of us will like it more, the other one won't. I don't know. Who knows? Stay tuned, folks.
Well, it sounds like a plan to me. I don't know, but all right, yeah, top 3.
What you got, my friend?
So much like Connor said, this movie is celebrating its 20th anniversary as of late. That for me is going to be Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Oof.
Now, again, when this movie came out, this was probably my favorite Star Wars movie. I got to see all 3 of the prequels in the theater. And I remember my dad taking me to this, and I remember him. When I was a kid, going to a movie with my dad was, I don't want to say regular, but, he's the one who introduced me to Star Wars. So obviously, I watched all 3 of the originals with him, and he took me to all 3 of the prequel movies. But I do remember him not liking 2. I remember him falling asleep during the movie, so I was a little worried this was going to happen again. But no, man, I will even willingly say, like, these next 3 movies, they're in my favorite movies of all time. Like,
I'm with you.
I love this movie. Like, the progression of watching Anakin become Darth Vader and actually seeing Darth Vader become Darth Vader. And I'll get to that here when I get to that. But the best version of Obi-Wan Kenobi is in this movie. Again, love Ewan McGregor to death. That he's the best version of Obi-Wan. This is his movie. Watching how Anakin slowly descends, we get good Anakin, but then during that duel with Dooku, that's when you start seeing the Anakin we saw in Episode 2 kill those Tusken Raiders. And obviously we still see how Palpatine is still seducing Anakin throughout the entirety of the movie until we get to the scene where Mace Windu, Kit Fisto, and I don't even remember the other 2 Jedi who go with, head into Palpatine's office, and we get that scene. For me, when the lightsaber takes off Mace Windu's hand, Anakin Skywalker dies at that moment. From that moment on until the end of the movie, that is Darth Vader. So that entire sequence on Mustafar, that is Darth Vader. Him going into that room and killing all the younglings, that's Darth Vader. That is not Anakin Skywalker. The only time you kind of see Anakin is when he's standing on that bridge and you see that teardrop go down his eye, like he has regret for what he's doing.
I always saw it as Anakin being more buried than dead. I think they almost like in Kill Bill. You remember when she wakes up and she's in a coffin in Kill Bill and she has to try to get her way out? I feel like that's what Anakin was for years after that, because he sneaks through every once in a while. He snuck through in the Obi-Wan show. He snuck through at that moment on Mustafar. I think he snuck through at moments in their fight. and when he saw Padme and everything. But he's suppressed.
Yes, very, very suppressed. And obviously, dude, that duel on Mustafar between Obi-Wan and Vader, that is single-handedly the best lightsaber duel in Star Wars. Like, it's never going to get topped. Disney, they've tried with Rise of Skywalker. I will willingly say they failed miserably with that. Still think it's a good duel on top of the Death Star, just not fantastic. But really, my only complaints about this movie, everything with Grievous versus Obi-Wan, it's not a very exciting sequence, you know.
Oh, okay.
I mean, and especially too, I will willingly say the Clone Wars show does not help at all. Like, it makes Grievous look a lot more like a coward.
I don't know why they did that, because the first version of Clone Wars made him look like horrifying, and then
he was a horror villain,
and he's just kind of like a wimp. Like, even the movies kind of made him look like a wimp a little bit, and he was so cool looking.
Yeah,
but oh well.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, just and how easily Obi-Wan kills him. Like, no, that it should have been a legit lightsaber duel throughout that entire sequence. But I guess the no doesn't bother me that much, and it could be just the nostalgia of me doing it so much in
yeah, right.
in the battle in the Battlefront.
You can become desensitized. I believe that. So that's definitely possible.
But otherwise, man, yeah, it's obviously it's the best prequel movie. Again, it's in like my top 20 favorite movies of all time. It's just, I don't know. There's not a lot I could say about it that nobody else has said. So let's see here. This is my cousin, Aaliyah. I'm so geeked for Darth Vader. He's so cute. Rate him 1 out of 10. Oh, easily a 10. I mean, you should see his skin. It's phenomenal. He's so cool.
Thanks for coming, Aaliyah.
Yeah. That scene where Mace told Anakin to wait was heavy, knowing what would happen if he stayed in the chamber. Like,
yeah. And like rewatching that, like every time I rewatch that and I feel that more of like there's so much conflict, but like at the same time, like who's to say that he would have even gone if they would have granted him the rank of master earlier in the movie, or allowed him on the council. Yeah, Jedi Master. That really was the moment that like really pushed him over the edge. He was scared of everything else, but I think he still could have been talked down the ledge. But once that moment happened, like Mace Windu almost set up his own death in a way, because he was the final, the straw that broke the camel's back in that situation. Because I don't think, in the context of the story, obviously George Lucas would know this more than anybody, but I don't feel like Anakin would have had a reason to go or to doubt anything if he would have had the trust of the Jedi, but he doesn't. And everybody else is telling him, don't trust him. I mean, even Padme in a sense is just like, they don't really know what they're doing. So I get it.
I will say too, man, this movie, kind of like how I said Last Jedi is easily Kylo Ren's movie. Dude.
It's Anakin's movie.
I would slightly argue. I would say this is Papa Palp's movie.
I could see that argument. To me, I think
it is a lot more Anakin, but
I feel like I just feel like the significance of like people had said, like, I think that was kind of a misunderstanding that I saw a lot of people saying when the Rise of Skywalker came out, is they were like, well, Palpatine's been pulling the strings the whole time, and like he's the most really kind of like important character for like the bad guys in Star Wars. And it's like, okay, if you want to say that, that's fine, but like what I love about Revenge of the Sith is like Palpatine is the manipulator. He is like the key, I guess, but Anakin is the focus. And I love that he's the focus and that he is the most important character in Star Wars throughout. And some people would argue that it's Luke, but really it is Vader because, and I'll talk a little bit about that when I talk about Return of the Jedi, but Anakin Skywalker is the character that Star Wars centers around. Even though there are movies about other people, it is an Anakin Skywalker story. So that movie is like a perfect example of how that's done well. They made him a villain, and yet you still kind of feel bad for him. Even after he does the unthinkable, you still kind of feel bad for him in a way. So really, really well done movie.
I also have to quickly mention the score where Anakin is in that room where he's, I don't even know how to word it. He's got like the super big iPad, and it's like that just weird little, I don't even know how to really word it, but it felt like a horror score. Like,
no, 100%.
Like the inevitable, like we know what's coming, but like it's inevitable, like it's happening. Like that score was, I love it.
That whole movie hit. I would argue it's the best score of the prequels, like overall. I know that I prefer some from the other two. Like obviously, Duel of the Fates is fantastic, and obviously, I already talked about Across the Stars. I love Across the Stars, but like there's so many sequences that I can point to, like loving the score. Like the Order 66 is one of the best pieces of music to come out of films. It's so well paced with what's happening on the screen. The Battle of the Heroes, which is plays during their lightsaber duel between Anakin and Obi-Wan, is amazing. Even when he's talking with Pat, like Anakin's betrayal, that song as well. There's so many fantastic pieces of music from that movie that it's. I mean, I know I put it below Phantom Menace, and I'm not taking that back. But it's a difficult decision. Like it's not clean cut. Like, oh, this is just definitively the better movie. Like they are. I mean it when I say like the top 5 movies in the Star Wars franchise are like my children. I love them so dearly. It's hard to rank them. But what a film, man. What a movie.
I would love to go see. I've missed out on all the re-releases. Like I haven't got to go to any of them. Like I'm upset I didn't get to go to Return of the Jedi. I would have loved to have seen that because like my nieces are kind of getting into Star Wars. Like my 7-year-old niece, she loves this little guy. This is like half of her world besides Stitch right now. But like, yeah. I would have loved to like bring them to the theater to go see any of these movies. Like right now, like I feel like watching this movie again in the theaters is gonna would hit so hard.
That's my concern, is that like I'd have to be carried out. Like I would just cry out all my electrolytes, and like because like I'm one of those people, I don't just cry when something's like emotional like on the screen. Like if I feel a certain, like we talked about it with like the twin sons of Tatooine, like if I just feel something, like ever since I turned probably 24, I'm now 27, I just bawl. And like so I would probably be crying the whole movie. Like I cried when I went and saw, I was able to hold it in for Force Awakens, but for both The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, I cried just at Star Wars coming up at the beginning of the title crawl. Like just from the initial Star Wars, I was just bawling. So yeah, Star Wars is a lot. I've also missed all the releases. I don't know if we'll get the shot to see this one either. I wish you luck in hopefully being able to. I don't know if I'll be able to. Obviously, you've got a lot going on in your world, so
yep.
It's not looking great for either of us, but let's hope we can make it happen. And if not, you know, let's hope we live long enough to see the next anniversary release, right? Because I'm not missing those ones.
Exactly, man. Like, I will say though, I do think one thing that's going to ruin this movie. I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen the videos of Revenge of the Sith? But it's a musical.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like now when they get to that part where Padme and Vader are talking there, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch this seriously, but no, man, this is like, if you could go more than like 4.5, like this would be like a 4.75. Like it's
yeah, for sure. Almost perfect.
Almost, but
almost perfect.
If I'm going by my ranking scale, it's a 4.5, but and everything you said, about the feelings and everything. Clearly, that's why my number two will be my number two. So, but what's your number two, good sir?
So, anybody who knows me knows my favorite movie of all time over the last decade has been a Star Wars movie. And my top two movies in the Star Wars franchise have changed over the years, but number one has always stayed consistent. In 2024, maybe early this year, my top two changed for the first time in over a decade.
Really?
Because my number two is The Empire Strikes Back. What used to be my favorite movie of all time is still a 5 out of 5, 100 for me. 100 out of 100. It is a perfect movie in my mind. I'm going to talk about that one because I know there's another movie coming up here, but what is there to say about The Empire Strikes Back that has not been said by everybody who talks about Star Wars ever? It's a perfect movie. It has some of the most amazing sequences ever shot on film were shot for this movie. It is the magic of movie making. It set a bar for sequels that I think is kind of unfair because not only did it surpass the original in every way in my mind, every feasible way it is better than the first Star Wars, but it also has a better, it also ends on a sour note. And for a movie to end on a sour note, but also give you hope for what the next movie is going to be like, that takes not only guts, but incredibly masterful execution. And this movie absolutely nailed it. So yes, my number two is The Empire Strikes Back, my former favorite movie of all time.
Interesting.
Now my second favorite movie of all time.
Okay. I mean, obviously, when we get to it, I'm eternally curious to see what changed your mind. But yeah, okay. I respect the hell out of that, man. I mean, yeah, like you said, it's always either Empire or Revenge of the Sith I see as number one. So
yeah,
to get to see something different, that's exciting. So,
and I think I know what your number two is going to be, but I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, so clearly there's still two movies left for me, and this movie is definitely going to go for how I felt watching this movie for the first time. Like, even still to this day, I still feel the same emotions I did ever since I watched this movie for the first time. And number two, probably unpopular, but it's going to be The Force Awakens for me. This is another movie that is literally so close to being a 5-star movie for me. And I know people have their problems. Again, we talked about it earlier. It's a retreading of A New Hope, basically, in a sense. But I think this movie set up what could have been a great trilogy. I think it set up really good, interesting characters. Again, Ray, yes, sir. But again, it's with Ray. I thought Ray was a good setup. I love what they did with Kylo. I think Finn, this is the best version of Finn. Obviously, the next movie basically destroys him 100%, and that's the worst version of Finn. Poe, he's kind of underutilized when he's out of his X-Wing, but when he's in the X-Wing, that's when he shines the most.
I'll agree with that.
The return of Han Solo, Chewbacca. Here comes an unpopular opinion. This is my favorite version of Han Solo. I love what they do with him. I love him.
B1. Oh my God, B1's having a stroke.
I'm pretty sure it's the third time he said that one. But
oh no, that one is that I'm not going to say anything terrible about you or your opinion there. That is, I absolutely love hearing that because that is the first time I've ever heard that. And I think that is an amazing take. It's not, I don't agree with it whatsoever, but I absolutely love to hear that. That is amazing. Wow. So can somebody check on B1 and make sure they're still alive? Are you okay, B1? After that one, I don't know. You might have lost a viewer.
Here, I'll help him out here. I'll give him this. But no, man, I do. I feel like this had a great setup for a trilogy, and I mean that final fight between Rey and Kylo. Obviously, it's not the greatest, not the greatest sequence in the entirety of the franchise, but
it looks great. It looks really great.
It's phenomenal. I love the music. Arguably, maybe besides Return of the Jedi, this might be my favorite score of the entire franchise.
Oh, okay.
Like you, I don't think anything John Williams has done in this franchise has been bad.
Not a single thing.
Even he didn't do the score for Rogue One, but he did the score for Solo. Mm-hmm. I think that's another thing that helps Solo be a good, fun movie for me. But I don't know, man. Like, literally, my only major criticism I have for this movie is what we talked about earlier: the missed opportunity of there not being Luke, Han, and Leia back again. Like,
yeah,
to me, if you're gonna bring that original trilogy cast back, you're gonna announce that, oh yeah, we're gonna have Luke, Han, Leia, Chewbacca, all of them in this movie. They needed to be together. If they could have, I really think if they could have convinced Harrison Ford to come back for Last Jedi, having all three of them be there on Ahch-To with Rey trying to train her, I don't know. That to me, like, there was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Terrible joke. I'm sorry. It's Star Wars Day, guys.
It's Star Wars Day. Cut them some slack, folks.
But like, I had like a huge. I wanted to make a huge series, like, but it would have been a lot. But I wanted to do like my version of the sequel trilogy.
Oh, okay.
So like,
that would have been fun.
Yeah. Quick spoiler: I would have had Han survive. I still would have kept the ending, but have like Luke, Han, and Leia there as at the end. And then obviously the next movie have all three of them there, and more than likely have Han probably die in Last Jedi, and then whatever they wanted to do after that. I didn't get that far, but
yeah.
To me, that is what my biggest criticism with The Force Awakens. It's just a missed opportunity. You announce the original cast back, but you don't get them all back together as one.
It's just a baffling decision, no matter which way you look at it. Whether you love these movies or not, it's still a baffling decision to announce it the way that they did and then just never have them be on the screen together.
But the reason I do have this as number 2 and why it is so close to being a perfect movie for me is how I felt. Like, again, the first time in a decade, you look up on the screen, you see a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Yes.
The Star Wars theme hits. My entire theater, we clapped, we cheered.
We did in mine too. Yeah.
All the big moments. I've literally said this in every episode I've ever done of my Tales of a Star Wars Fan. When Rey, BB-8, and Finn run towards the Falcon, they turn around and that Falcon music hits, man. Every time I just get excited. Like, music swells. My ears start to cry. Oh, dude, my ears start to cry. My eyes start to cry. Good Lord. Oh, dude, you guys, we've been going for 3 hours, so I apologize.
Cut us a little slack.
Yeah.
But I'm with you, B1. Kasdan, them bringing back Kasdan writing it, to me, that's what makes it feel the most like a Star Wars movie. It still feels a little bit like an imitation to me as opposed to the real thing, but I think having that touch of that tie to the original really helped. If you're not going to let, George come in and work on it. I don't know if he didn't want to, or I know he had a script that Disney threw away. But I totally get what you mean though, B1. I would probably guess that of the 3 movies, this is probably B1's favorite, and I would probably be on the same wavelength with that. I think it is the best executed. And like you, that emotion in the theater of just seeing Star Wars on the screen and just knowing that, like, whether the movie's good or not, like you're living through history of seeing Star Wars on the big screen. Like as it comes out, we were there either on the day it came out in our theater or like the day after. And it was just incredible. So
yeah, man, they even had an early screening of it. They had it at like 9:00. So like, we went to it. I got the best seats. Like I wanted to be first in line for everything, dude. And just the hype for this movie. Like it was up there with Revenge of the Sith, Phantom Menace when these movies were coming out. But I do, man. Like I know a lot of people don't, but I love this movie to death. Like it's literally in my top 5 favorite movies of all time. Like this is the definition of a movie that makes me feel emotion and makes me love Star Wars, makes me love being a movie fan, makes me love talking about Star Wars, whether people agree or disagree. But it is, man. I love it. Like I said, just the original trilogy cast not being together takes it down a notch, but I do. Force Awakens, I love it. I love it to death. I will defend this movie till the day I die.
I'm happy to see this this up there because it deserves its love. I think every Star Wars film deserves somebody to have it at the top or towards the top of their list. So I'm happy to see it there. And I had those same emotions in the theater. So it's really cool to see that they stuck. I wish they stuck with me. They just didn't. So I'm happy to see that. Both of our top 2s, I think, are a little controversial here. Although your one is going to be a little bit more well received than mine, I guess.
Possibly.
But I guess it would be time for that, wouldn't it?
It would, man. Like I got to hear. Like I'm eternally curious what changed your mind. So let's hear it.
Yeah. So if you've been following along, you know my number 1 is going to be Return of the Jedi. So for years, I always felt the way that I felt when I was a kid when I watched the movie. I always felt that way. I would watch it, but I'd always end it by justifying like, no, but there's bad stuff in it. Like you don't like this and you don't like this and you don't like this. But every year that I watched it, I would have less to try to convince myself that it was worse than Empire. Like I would have less complaints. I would have less issues. My co-host and my co-owner of That Bad Media, Mr. Gabe Tice, is not a fan of this movie. He wants to talk about why it's a bad movie. I would defend it to the death. This just recently changed for me. And what honestly did it, the last time I watched the movie, before this most recent time, I said I have 0 complaints, but it's not as good as Empire. And that's what I kept telling myself. I feel different when but then finally I watched it again and I was like, you know what? It's time for me to stop pretending to just agree with the consensus because I don't. Something you said earlier is a big key as to why this finally beat out Empire for me. When I think of Star Wars, what do I think of? When I think of the perfect Star Wars movie, what do I think of? When I think of my favorite sequences in a Star Wars movie, what do I think of? And it all kept going back to Return of the Jedi. My favorite lightsaber duel is in Return of the Jedi. My favorite piece of music is in Return of the Jedi. My favorite lightsaber color is featured prominently in Return of the Jedi. I'm a green lightsaber guy. You're a green lightsaber guy? Yeah, there we go.
Green is my favorite color on the face of this planet. Well, obviously you know this.
Well, yeah.
But yes, yeah, green. God. Luke's lightsaber in Return of the Jedi, dude, the best lightsaber in all Star Wars.
Perfect. To me, like you said something about that Jabba sequence earlier, to me, it adds so much to the movie of like the feeling of Star Wars. And I'm going to say something a little controversial on top of this. I actually prefer, when I watch this movie, my perfect version of Return of the Jedi is the 1997 version of the special edition. There are some tweaks that they've made over time, so there are differences, but the 1997 special edition of the movie is my favorite version. And it's not only my favorite. Look, I'm going to say something right off the bat. Jedi Rocks, also known as Lop-D Neck, the song performed in Jabba's palace. I enjoy it. I don't care. It's a fun little silly sequence. I think it's fun. The Ewoks, I absolutely adore and love the Ewoks. With every fiber of my being, I love the Ewoks. I don't see it as much of them. I don't see the story being as much of them being the ones to take down the Empire. I see it being a collaboration between two groups of people that don't see eye to eye, that don't have the same culture, that don't speak the same language, but they come together for the common cause of taking down the same enemy. And to me, that story and how it's executed, these furry little creatures are like genuinely kind of like savages. And but they're also, they're completely different from the rebels in every way, except for the fact that they also don't want the Empire meddling in their business. They don't want the Empire telling them what to do. They don't want them killing their people or killing their bears. I don't know. Killing their fellow Ewoks. They have to find common ground and work together in order to defeat the enemy that invades the forest moon of Endor. On top of all of that, we get the culmination of Anakin Skywalker's story. I prefer the 1997 special edition because Sebastian Shaw is Anakin Skywalker at the end of the movie, not Hayden Christensen.
Hayden Christensen. Yep.
I understand why Hayden Christensen would mean something to somebody and why somebody would prefer that over it. But to me, like, we just saw this guy's face all messed up and burnt. Like, Anakin Skywalker technically did not die. And this is the distinction that I wanted to make and why I said I'd bring it back later. I don't believe Anakin Skywalker died then. I believe he was buried. And I believe he was unburied when he saved Luke and when he was unmasked. So it doesn't make sense to me for his Force Ghost to be Hayden. It would make more sense for his Force Ghost to be the part of Anakin that was still inside of him this whole time and was aging along with him, just without the scars and the burns and all that stuff. The ending, I love Yub Nub. It has a lot of charm, but I actually prefer the special edition ending. Not only do I prefer the music, it's my favorite piece of Star Wars music, period, is the victory celebration. But also, being able to see the worlds, and I know people don't love the CGI from it, but being able to see the entire galaxy celebrating the fall of the Empire, it just adds to the gravity of that ending. So, yeah, my favorite Star Wars movie of all time is specifically, very specifically, the 1997 cut of Star Wars Episode 6, The Return of the Jedi. And it's my favorite film of all time now. It makes me feel more emotion than any film that I've ever watched. Even Marley and Me. that was a rough one.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. But yes, it is. To me, like everything that I think of about the magic of movie making and what makes me love film, is in Star Wars, and inversely, everything I think about Star Wars is in, Return of the Jedi. So that's where I'll leave that.
Finally did it.
I've been toying with it for years now, but I finally had the nerve to move it up. So
I respect the hell out of it, man. Like I said, I do feel one day Return of the Jedi is going to get up there. I don't know. Like I said before too, like you pretty much worded it. Like when I think of Star Wars, like there are moments in Return of the Jedi. Like that's why I said I feel like Return of the Jedi is like the Star Wars movie.
I mean, everything that I think of about Star Wars and what I like about it and what's cool about it is in Return of the Jedi. So like, I don't know. It's the Star Wars movie for me. And perfect ending, by the way. You said that earlier. Perfect ending to a trilogy. I would easily take it over any other ending. Point blank, period.
Literally. Like, even though I do think the ending of Rise of Skywalker, it goes very over the top. Like that scene where like all them ships are coming in. Like, I will not lie, I laughed when that happened. Yeah, at the end of that movie, Return of the Jedi, it like literally, like I said before too, like if they never brought Star Wars back, if Disney never purchased it from Lucasfilm, like Return of the Jedi would be the perfect ending to a franchise. And I don't know. I mean, it's a damn good movie. Like I said, it'll. I really want to rewatch the version you're talking about now, especially now I have the tapes and I actually have a way of watching them. But
and I want to say, I talked a big game. I understand why people don't like Jedi Rocks or Lop Neck or whatever, that whole musical sequence in the in Jabba's palace. I understand why you'd prefer the subtle version in the original cut, but I don't know. I think it's like a fun break before we get into like the more heavy stuff that's in that movie. So yeah, I'll take it any day. I enjoy it. I have that whole band over there on my shelf. I have a whole Return of the Jedi section at the top. The top of it is episode 4, then it's episode 5, then 6, then the prequels. So I have a dedicated shelf to it, and front and center is the Max Rebo band with whatever that singer's name is, and our friend Droopy McCool that we mentioned earlier. So, yeah, there we go. That's my number one, and obviously we know what your number one is, but I'd love to hear you break it down. I'm excited to hear it.
Number one, clearly, it's Empire Strikes Back. It's the first Star Wars movie I ever watched. I still remember it being a cold winter day, and me and my dad are looking for something to watch. He's sitting on the couch. I'm sitting on the floor. We go to the TNT network, and
TNT.
There are the AT-ATs walking towards the base, the Rebel base on Hoth. And I asked my dad what this was because I didn't know. He said it was Star Wars. I sat there and I watched the whole movie. Parents split up, so every other weekend I would go with my dad. So the following time I go with my dad, I brought it up to him. Like, hey, like, you said there's more? Yep. So we sat down that weekend. We watched all 3 Star Wars movies back to back to back. And then literally the next day came the trailer for The Phantom Menace.
Oh, that's just magical. That's just magical.
It's magical, but also slightly ironic and slightly scary. But
oh yeah,
it's like it was meant to be. But
that's beautiful. Yeah, you have to love it now. Yeah, that's amazing. By the way, B1, thank you for all of this.
Yes, yeah, you've been very, very vocal, man. I appreciate the hell out of you coming in, even though I know you didn't like a lot of my takes, but still, you've been awesome. I appreciate the hell out of it. Yeah, like you said, what else can you say? Like, I love the lightsaber duel between Vader and Luke. Arguably my second favorite lightsaber duel of all time. I mean,
might be the most beautifully shot sequence in Star Wars. Like the lighting is perfect, the scenery is perfect, like everything about that sequence is just perfect.
It makes Darth Vader so imposing the entire time we're in the carbonite freezing chamber. Like, I do. That might be my favorite scene in all of Star Wars, possibly. Besides, obviously, the super, obviously iconic "I am your father" scene. I mean, my favorite Darth Vader moment of all time. I mean, great action, great acting, great practical effects. I mean, it is, man. Like you said, it's a perfect movie. It's a 5 out of 5. It's my second favorite movie of all time, just under Jurassic Park, because I have more nostalgia with Jurassic Park.
Of course, yeah.
It phenomenal. Like, it's a movie I can watch at any time. The opening to that movie, just panning down and seeing that Star Destroyer come, and then you see Vader's Star Destroyer in the background. It's phenomenal. I would even claim too that Empire Strikes Back is the Darth Vader movie. Like, it is. Again, what else can you say? It's a perfect movie. I love it. I will love it till the day I die, and can't wait for my kid to watch this one.
Yeah, it's my second favorite movie of all time. Both of my favorite movies of all time are Star Wars movies, so that shows you kind of what the kind of life I have. But no, I mean, it's since I can't add much to it, I'll give everybody a fun fact. I'm sure much of you already know this, but the 1997 special edition of that movie is a version I don't prefer. because eagle-eared listeners of and people who watch the movies a lot will be able to pick out that when that during that sequence where Luke learns that Vader is his father, when Luke lets go and falls down that chute, they added a scream because they figured that somebody would scream, but the scream that they added was the scream that Palpatine lets out when Vader throws him down the shaft in the Death Star. So if you listen closely on the 1997 special edition of Empire Strikes Back, you will hear Palpatine screaming as Luke falls down that air duct, I think it is, in that sequence. So yeah, not much I can add. So I thought I'd throw a fun fact in there. But what a way to celebrate Star Wars Day so far, is talking about these movies and re-rank. Both of our rankings have changed a little bit. At least I know mine was a little different last time we had this discussion. So it was cool being able to revisit them and hear the reasons, and have B1 here jumping in and giving. You know what I liked about B1's comments today, and I hope B1's still here to hear this. Honest and like blunt about opinions without being disrespectful about it. Like, yes, you can say you think a movie's trash, but telling somebody else that their opinion is trash because they like it is totally out of hand. So the fact that he was there just like being like, oh no, those movies suck, but then when you made a good point, he's like, oh yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, B1 is awesome. I hope to see B1 next time too.
Me as well. This is the definition of how Star Wars fans should have discussions.
Yes. You never have to agree with everything another person's saying, ever. But you always got to respect them, because at the end of the day, you still love the same thing. You just love it differently. Mm-hmm. And so, I would hope somebody would be respectful of my opinion. So I'm going to be respectful of anybody's, even if they tell me that their favorite Star Wars movie is my least favorite. I would rather talk to them than somebody who just agrees with me. I would rather talk to somebody who thinks the best Star Wars movie is Rise of Skywalker than somebody who agrees with Return of the Jedi. So yeah, your chat was great with that.
Yes. I would almost like you to have a chat with my wife and ask why her favorite is The Last Jedi, because like, I don't know why, like somebody had to ask her like, oh, which Star Wars movie is that? She's like, the one with a lot of red in it. Like,
yeah, there's a lot of red in that movie. The poster has a lot of red. The movie has a lot of red.
I'm like, that's how you remember that movie, is a lot of red. I mean,
okay. She's got a point.
I mean, as long as you remember it, like
right, yeah.
Her definition of Jar Jar Binks, she calls him Dinosaur Dude. That's his name.
Hey, you know what? Anything to remember, and I'm just glad somebody remembers Jar Jar, and hopefully somewhat fondly. Everybody hates Jar Jar, but I don't hate Jar Jar.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I want to watch the movies now. Oh my god,
dude, I am excited. I'm going to have a discussion with my wife about this, about planning out our next rewatch, because we always start it, but we have a hard time finishing it. I just showed her Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure for the first time, so we at the very least we have Bogus Journey, which I like more personally, as our next watch. But after that, I need to get these movies on like as soon as possible, because talking about just gives me that feeling again, man. Like, yeah. I love Star Wars. I'm a collector of Star Wars. I have all the movies. I have the 2 crappy Ewok movies. I even have those. So yeah, I'm just excited to revisit these and get back into the world again.
What about the holiday special?
I don't have the holiday special. And the reason I don't have the holiday special is because I knew it was going to take up space on my hard drive, and I really didn't want that space on my hard drive taken up. I just didn't want to it's the only piece of Star Wars media that I can genuinely say is just awful. And it's not awful in like a fun way. Like Mark Hamill's like barely alive on painkillers after his motorcycle accident, and everybody else is on drugs, and it's like, it's just not good.
I might not be a Patreon, but I am requesting you guys do an episode of the holiday edition of Star Wars.
I don't think I could defend that. I'll be honest. Like, I've been able to defend a lot of things, but like one of the big things about and we hopefully have some new stuff on the horizon. Things have just been crazy between both of us. Gabe's been working on a lot of projects, and on my side, I started a new job, and I've got all this stuff moving in my life. And if anybody out there is struggling with their mental health, if you get help, things actually get better. Like, I'm not just saying that. Like, I'm in the best place I've been in years. But you'll get busier. So be prepared for that. So hopefully there's new stuff coming for That Bad Media soon. But I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to fight for the Star Wars Christmas special being featured anywhere or subjecting Gabe to that. Cause I think he might. I don't think he'll live through it, if I'm being honest with you.
Make it the first episode of That Bad. It's that bad.
Oh my God. It would be, and it's that bad for sure. I could not defend that one. So definitely, that's a scary thought, having to watch that again.
Fun fact, I have never watched it. I've never watched the Ewok movies either. I'd like to get those under my belt, just check them out. But
I think the Ewok movies and the Ewok cartoon would be fun for your kid. Once that kid shows up. What's the name, by the way? Do you have a name picked up?
Depends on what it is. Like, if it's a boy,
okay. So you guys are keeping it as a surprise.
Yeah, if it's a boy, it'll be Bennett. If it's a girl, it'll be Adeline.
Nice. Okay, yeah. So once that child is born, those Star Wars cartoons of the 80s, like droids and Ewoks, are great. And the Ewok movies would be good too. Might be a little traumatizing. There's some really a whole family is wiped out at one point, but it's not graphic or anything. It was a TV movie from the 80s, but
got it.
They're not great for adults to enjoy, but they're fun little side quests in Star Wars history. I think they're worth watching for you because I know how big of a fan you are of Star Wars. So just knowing that you've seen them is important. But yeah, you don't have to rush. They're not great.
Fair enough.
They're not great. But.
Okay. Fair enough, man. Well, all right, you guys. What a hell of a way to celebrate May the 4th. Maybe we should go for another 30-something minutes and make it a 4-hour stream for May the 4th. I can't, man. I got so much stuff to still do. But, man,
I know.
What a hell of a way to spend May the 4th, man. Spending it with a good buddy, good Star Wars fan, and Connor. A hell of a good time, man. I mean, it's an amazing franchise. Yeah, for a lot of people, it's got its ups and downs, but it's my favorite franchise of all time. I would not change it for the world. It's me. This is my fandom. Again, for you guys who might not know, my uncle passed away years before I was born, so this is my way of spending time with him because he was a gigantic fan of the original trilogy. So I'm basically living out his fandom through me, and weirdly, kind of in a weird Star Wars way, connecting to him throughout the Force by watching these movies and spending time with him. And apparently my grandmother still has his old Star Wars videos somewhere, so she's still looking for them for me all these months later. So yeah, I wouldn't change it for the world, man. I love Star Wars. I love and respect your opinion and your ranking. It is awesome to have this chat, man. I couldn't have had a better friend on here to talk Star Wars with today.
Well, it meant a lot to be considered for it. I had a great time on here. I know this wasn't the original plan for the stream, so I know it was a lot of fun to be able to do. Same with you. Same with what you said. I don't quite have the same exact story, but it's a connection to so much of my childhood. I can't say my childhood was perfect, but it meant the world to me, and there was a lot of great times, and so many of those surrounded Star Wars. So, being an adult now and, getting ready to have a family at some point and just being, where I am in my life, it's just really cool to be able to discuss Star Wars, to rewatch it, to always have it there. It's been there my whole life, and I hope it never leaves. So, this was a great discussion, and thank you a ton for having me on here. I was just going to, I probably would have been going out somewhere today. So this was a great alternative, in my opinion, and I had a lot of fun. So thanks again.
Yeah, man, appreciate it. Always a pleasure to have you on. So, all right, guys. Again, hope you guys have an awesome May the 4th. Connor, you got anything you want to plug? Anything coming up here?
I want to say thanks again to your chat. They've been awesome. B1, shout out. Hope you can find some stuff on our channel. God bless you as well. So I co-own Not That Bad, That Bad Media. We were Not That Bad. Now we're Not That Bad Media. We've expanded our content. We're having a ton of fun on our channel. It's been a minute since we posted, so if you want to give some love to our old stuff, we'd love to have everybody over there. We should be coming back with something soon. We're trying to align our schedules, that's it. If you're a first-time watcher for SPC Unleashed, this guy's great. I've been associated with him now for years, and having some dork from Illinois on his channel to talk about Star Wars is a nice thing for him to do. So definitely subscribe there. If you like my stuff too, subscribe there. And thanks again for having me.
Yeah, man. Probably after the stream, I will link the link to Connor's channel down in the description box below. Definitely go check them out, man. They've got a lot of wild takes on a lot of movies. I just watched your guys' one on vampires since I just got off my John Carpenter high here a little while ago.
Yeah, no shortage of hot takes on the That Bad Media channel. So hopefully you like those. But yes, may the 4th be with everybody in the comments today.
Yes, may the 4th be with all of you, as well as may the Force be with you all.
Yes.
With that being said, though, you guys, happy Star Wars Day. Make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll see you in the next one.